O Show. This is the Big 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 O Show.
Just one place sold the most Acura models in the last 17 years. Acura of Pembroke Pines. Drive a new 2025 RDX for $419 a month during our 17th anniversary sale.
When presenting an award to an employee, athlete, executive, or fantasy GM, make sure you call Orvietto's Awards and More. For 35 years, these custom award specialists have been providing plaques, trophies, custom framing, while providing state-of-the-art laser and computerized engraving, UV printing, and glass crystal etching. They do all their engraving and printing in-house for quality control. Call Charles at 305-949-8098 or visit them at orviettosawards.com. Orvietto's Awards and More, where recognition is rewarding.
For over 16 years, EJDconstruction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDconstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDconstruction.com.
I think I know what this is. Houston, we have a package. Hello?
No matter where you are, the Slowman Shield home security system guards your home. With next-gen perimeter protection, 24/7 monitoring, and interior motion sensing. And right now, get a free Slowman Shield security system and doorbell camera, all professionally installed, for free.
Shield your world, the Slowman Shield.
Just one place sold the most Acura models in the last 17 years. Acura of Pembroke Pines. Take $10,000 off a 2025 Acura MDX during our 17th anniversary sale.
It starts every morning before the sun comes up. Projects are laid out. Plans are made. Equipment is fueled and loaded with inventory to handle all service requests. Orders are given to an army of skilled landscape maintenance professionals, certified arbor trimmers, irrigation technicians, and licensed pest management experts who fan out to communities and businesses all over South Florida. Experienced, on time, and dependable. Our staff is fully trained, licensed, and insured. Contact us by phone, email, social media, or through our website to answer all your landscape questions. We are Cutter's Edge. Total Landscape Solutions.
After
40 years, the Big Cheese Miami is still producing great Italian food. They started in 1984. Since then, they've been winning awards while being voted the best inexpensive Italian restaurant in Miami. Visit them for great food, amazing service. Witness the decades of Cane's memories. The walls are like a Miami Hurricanes Hall of Fame. The Big Cheese delivers anything on its menu or party platter menu to your home, office, or even a park for a picnic. Located at 8080 Southwest 67th Avenue, Miami. Call 305-662-6855. TheBigCheeseMiami.com, where they serve large portions at family prices.
It's big. It's gigantic. It's the Toyota of Hollywood Super Sale. Over 2,000 Toyotas from just $17,988. Like a Corolla LE, not $24,000. $17,988. Buy with 0% financing, 0 down. Join the fun and get a super deal at Toyota of Hollywood, the #1 volume Toyota dealer on 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street. Open till midnight.
South Florida, listen carefully. Osmani Garcia with Omega Realty Group is changing the game. He's not just listing homes. He's guaranteeing to sell yours in 30 days or less, or he'll buy it himself. No excuses, no delays, no fine print games. This is real. If you're serious about selling, call 305-440-1990 and see if your home qualifies. Osmani Garcia delivers results. Osmani Garcia, the home of the 30-day sale guaranteed, where guarantees are backed by action. Call now, don't wait. This market won't wait for you. Restrictions apply. Call 305-440-1990.
Welcome to Caneswear. New store, new items, same great experience. Family owned and operated since 2010, Caneswear has the latest merchandise from the Miami Hurricanes, Miami Dolphins, Florida Panthers, Inter Miami CF, and more. Come visit us at our store in Davie on University Drive, just south of 595, or online at caneswear.com. Caneswear, the spot Miami fans shop.
Before you buy or lease a Honda, Volkswagen, Hyundai, or any other model, compare Subaru, rated #1 in safety at Subaru of Pembroke Pines. Buy with 0.9% financing, 0 down. Forester with symmetrical all-wheel drive, $259 a month. Crosstrek with symmetrical all-wheel drive, $239 a month. During the Subaru A Lot to Love event at Subaru of Pembroke Pines, South Florida's #1 volume Subaru retailer.
When it comes to your smile, confidence is so important. At Moody Dental, they provide the services to get your smile back. This family-run practice prides itself by offering the latest technology to give your family the best experience possible. Moody Dental has been in business for over 30 years with offices in Hialeah and Plantation. They accept most major dental insurances. They provide free new patient exams, 20% off select treatments. To qualify, please follow us on Instagram at moodys.dental. Moody Dental has been in business for over 30 years. To schedule an appointment in Hialeah, call 305-821-0231 and Plantation 954-692-6825. From Invisaligns, dental implants, same-day crowns, and the preventative care and preservation to get your smile back. Go to moodysdental.com to find out more and tell them Big O sent you.
If you're looking to take your home or business to the next level, then RM Contractors can assist you. RM specializes in new residential turnkey, new commercial turnkey, home and office remodeling. Call them for free estimates. Serving all of South Florida, licensed and insured. Call Ray, 305-345-3649. You work hard to create the perfect atmosphere. You dream it, we'll build it. RM Contractors, 305-345-3649. Or Instagram at RMC Fisher Island.
Hi, this is Jeff Welt from Welton Rheaume. Dan and I have been in business together for over 22 years. We're not your typical lawyers. When Dan's not working in the office, he's flying his stunt plane. When I'm not in the office, I'm either getting tattooed, bowling, riding a motorcycle, or going to concerts. We might not be your typical attorneys, but we are aggressive attorneys. and we'll do whatever it takes to get you what you deserve. Consultations are always free. Call us anytime, 24/7.
Welton Rheaume can help.
Just one place sold the most Acura models in the last 17 years. Acura of Pembroke Pines. Drive a new Acura ZDX, $439 a month during our 17th anniversary sale.
The viewpoint, statements, or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
Alrighty, yeah, baby. Oh, it's championship number 2 for your Florida Panthers, man. Life is sweet. We got good times. We got celebrations all over the place. Hey, Sean, they're not greasing poles here? No greasing poles?
No, sir.
No overturned cars?
No, sir.
We're not setting them on fire?
No, sir.
Just, you saw all those celebrations. And I just want to, add that I've lived it all, watching all our championship celebrations for the Canes, watching our championship celebrations for the Marlins, for the Heat, and now the second time for the Panthers. And, dude, I mean, Philadelphia, New York, LA, Paris, whatever. I could go on and on and on. So many cities nationally and internationally. Y'all could learn a thing or two. Okay? Y'all can learn a thing or two about us here in South Florida. But anyway, so congratulations also to our fans who just have fun. That's pretty good. We're not throwing garbage at our opponents, and we're not doing any of that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Anyway, so very, very, very good. I like it. I like it. I like it. Anyway, what am I getting here on Twitter? Okay. Apparently, somebody's sending me that Tyreek got somebody else pregnant. Is that true? Anyway, so just a lot of fun. Obviously, a lot of us are probably short on sleep. We were on last night. If you get a chance, watch our post-game show. Give it a like. Just help the platform grow however you can. Oh, is that what's going on right now? What do we got? Is that the elbow room right now? Are they pouring beer on people? Is that what's going on? I love it. Got to take the billboard off there. There we go. I love it. Yeah, Kachuk and folks are already there at the elbow room. There you go. There you go. Again, not a bunch of rioting. We're not overturning cars. Chicago, New York, Philly, LA, Seattle, Dallas. Y'all could come look here at South Florida. All the championships, doesn't matter. Nova Southeastern Sharks, they win championships. We don't go crazy. We don't go crazy for anybody. We're not crazy like stupid. We have fun. And the elbow room has become the headquarters. Did it even close, Sean? I mean, they probably stayed open and couldn't serve anything legally, right? That's probably.
Yeah, I believe so, because there was people crowded around, and now everybody's like, this year, and again, it's probably a good problem to have. There's so many people now this year compared to last year. A lot of people were there close. People that didn't stay and sleep overnight are way away from the celebration right now at the elbow room.
Right, exactly. Now, it's both ways now. It goes both ways. Like last year was a surprise. Hey, we're going to the elbow room. Bah, 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 boom, everything exploded. And now it's become that thing. So now, be at the elbow room after the championship. Or if you live around the elbow room area, get the hell out because it's going to be loaded. That kind of stuff. So it goes both ways. Yes, sir.
No, I wanted to say in the one clip, I don't know if you saw it, where Barkov is celebrating in the arena.
Oh, yeah. Like at 1 a.m.
That was 1:35 in the morning with the employees and the Emirates Bank employees, the Panthers and the Emirates Bank employees that stayed late to celebrate with them. He went back on the ice to celebrate with them.
Only hockey players. You get that, dude. Only hockey players. By the way, we got a loaded show for you. David Furones, who was there last night, he checked in a little bit with us. We couldn't stay on all the way through. And thanks, by the way, appreciate all of you that joined us throughout the Stanley Cup post-game run, and you watched the shows and supported us. Thank you. We did it last year. We did it this year. I don't know. Maybe we need to start adding Panther reports over some of the other reports. I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, so we'll do the entire playoff run next year. That's probably what we'll have to do. We'll have to do the entire playoff run next year because the reality is, and I know the theme throughout the day, it already was last night. Sean, you saw it. God, I wish our Dolphins could do this. God, I wish our we say that when the Heat win it. We said I don't even know if you said it when Nova won it. I don't know if you said it when the Marlins won it. You know what I'm saying? Because you can say it throughout all of that. You got to stop saying. It's like, yeah, I get it. We all know we wish what we wish. We all wish the Dolphins, but dude, they're so light. They're light years away from all of this. Light years away from all of this. Let's be honest now. And the Heat, light years away from all of this. So, man, If you haven't even gotten on the bandwagon, you know what? If you're not a hockey fan because you're a hardcore football or basketball or both or whatever, you need to start liking hockey. I mean, if you are a Miami fan and you like your local teams, why aren't you? I mean, enjoy yourselves because this is the only thing you got right now. It's the only thing you got. You know, the rest is empty hope is what you're doing to yourself. The Dolphins are going nowhere, and the Heat are completely in the abyss. They're so far away. So far. And they're even farther if they continue down the path of hanging on and trying to get, you know, Durant or some stupid shit like that. That's just not going to get you anywhere. Don't forget, of course, you can support the show, Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show, Cash App or Venmo, and you can make a Bitcoin or Ethereum donation or a chain link or Solana, actually. Yes, sir.
I don't know if you caught it last night, but I was up doing the audio and I saw the replay of the game, and they showed this stat.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know the Florida Panthers going into this game were 10-0 in potential series clinching games all time when scoring first? Now they're 11-0.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah, it popped up on after the Reinhardt first goal. Real quick, it popped up, and I saw it, and I had to stop it and pause it so I can make sure I read it. And that shows, you know, what type of team they have built.
I stayed up last night late. Even after the show, I went downstairs, and I just started watching, you know, interviews from both teams and everything. And, you know, you all know that stat where the Panthers also nobody's ever done this in the first 6 games of Stanley Cup where they scored 2 goals in the first period. And they did it again. And one of the things that they talked about with McDavid was, you know, they were constantly playing catch up. And you think about that, and you're playing a great team in the Panthers that are loaded. 3 lines that come at you like a tsunami, because they are the tsunami of hockey. You know, they are the South Florida tsunami, because it's just waves and waves and waves of lines that come at you. They got more lines coming at you than Tony Montana had back in the 80s. All right. And it's just amazing, dude, to watch what they have been able to put together here in this organization. It's just a super talented team, and the domination, and then you're down 2-0 against them, and it's just wait a minute, your third line with Marchand and Lundell. What the hell is this, dude? I got to deal with Marchand and Lundell as your third line? That's insanity. It's just, you know, and we're going to have Bill Lindsay on at noon. And Reinhardt's first goal, that's the guy I thought of. That's why I reached out to Bill. I said, Bill, I got to have you on, you know. I'd love to have you on. I didn't mention that. I'll mention it to him when we bring him on. But I immediately thought of him because I covered that team. I was in the locker rooms, you know. I covered that whole, you know, in those days. That was my beat. That was the first year that I got to QAM. Actually, I covered the Panthers. I covered the Marlins, and they went to titles and won. The Marlins went to the title, won, and then the Panthers went to the title, and then I asked to go to the Dolphins and the Heat beat. The Heat was a good beat. The Dolphins are still the same that they've always been. You know, I've been part of beats that win titles, so I'm not pooping it. If you know the story now, which Alan Poupart shed the light for us. He was on the Panthers beat for years. He stopped the last 2 years. He was on the beat 3 years ago when they lost the title. He's off the beat the last 2 years, and they've won the title. He posted that. That's amazing. And remember, he's been on the Dolphin beat forever. So I don't know, bro. I don't know. I know it's not me because I've been on beats and I've been sprayed with champagne, baby. Heat, Marlins. I've been in the champagne-filled locker rooms, walking out smelling like champagne. I got to tell you something. There's good and there's bad. When you walk out and you're drenched in champagne, you got to get in your car to go to the studio and then go home and all that kind of stuff. And you smell like alcohol and you didn't drink a drop. So the times that it happened to me, I was like, oh my God, please don't pull me over. You know, I'm trying. I'm driving as cool as the other side of the pillow, as the late Stuart Scott would say. I'm trying to keep it cool to the studio to do my work, because back in those days, I was creating carts and shit in one of them. But anyway, so, and then I go home and I was just praying I wouldn't get stopped. See, those are things you don't think of. You know, it's like, hey, wow, that's so cool. You're in the, yeah, it is. It's cool. But damn, dude, I don't want to get pulled over at 2, 3 in the morning. And then I'm drenched in alcohol. And, you know, it's not the cops' fault. They don't trust any of us out there because they're constantly lied to and all that. So, you sure you haven't had a drink? You smell like an entire bottle of champagne. Yeah, no, I got to explain it. Yeah, I know. But you know what? I have the recordings and all that. So I would have gotten away with it. The late great, I remember putting my arm around Wayne Huizenga. I still have the tape. My Marantz deck, the cassette, it's somewhere. And I'm recording and he's getting sprayed with champagne and all that. And I'm asking him a couple questions because that's how it was in the Marlins locker room in 97. You're just kind of scrambling and you got to grab whoever you can grab and all that. It was, a different world. It was kind of fun. They do things differently now. I believe now, Sean, the media's not really in the locker room with the fellas celebrating the championship anymore in the middle of the whole live thing, right? Are they still like? It doesn't seem like it. It seems like
the only thing I saw was the team media putting anything out. I didn't see anything from any of, the Panther beat as far as that goes. They were on the ice, I think, and then Barkov and then went back in, and then they started the sit-down interviews, I think, right away.
Yeah, it's very, since I've been in it so long, it was more personable back then. Now they've kind of separated church and state, and so you're kind of away from, all of that. So it's you don't have the same experience media-wise that, let's say, I had, back in the day. Just like covering the Dolphins, there was a stretch where I was on the field during practices, literally on the field, right on the sidelines, like 3 feet away from watching a drill, right there. And listening to the coaches scream at the players or telling them what to do and players either figuring out or not. The shit that we really don't hear from a distance, I was able to hear all of that. I couldn't talk about it, but, it was just one of those that it did give me an education. And it gives you, it helps your IQ. And so information always helps in anything in life. So it's different. It's different now. I see it's a lot more sterile. And they kind of keep it away. And so I remember, being like in the middle of everything while they're all celebrating, popping champagne, hugging each other. And they used to let you be right in the center of it all. And they kind of don't let you do that anymore. It's they kind of they have their celebration. And then, okay, now we'll give you guys these specific, training camp, like the Dolphins now. They bring out a couple players. That was never like that. Training camp, you know what? We went right into the locker rooms and we had all the players. You know what they do nowadays? They have 4 or 5 media relations people and they scatter them around and they follow you. So you can't even really pull players aside and have them one-on-one and have conversations. You'll have media members lurking and close by. I never had that. I've noticed that when I went to Dolphins camp recently. It's really the media really doesn't have the insight like they used to have. I can tell you that because I'm into the fourth decade of the business. Now, the last 5 I haven't, I sparingly do it now because I don't have to. Man, I did it for decades. What the hell am I going to do? Kill myself? And another stage in my life, dude. I don't need this shit. So, but I can tell you that it's a lot different, man. It's a lot different. It definitely is a lot different, and kind of sucks, by the way, because it was a better experience back in the day. You were a little closer involved with it, and you can give listeners and fans what's it called, a better understanding of what's going on. Anyway, so appreciate you all out there. Loaded show, 10:30, David Furones. So we'll have him in about 10 minutes. Adam Lichtenstein was there throughout the entire run. He'll join us at 11:30. Bill Lindsay, the former Panther, and also played for the Panthers in 96 when they made it to the finals. And it's funny because this Panther team mirrors that one. The only difference is the talent. That's it. They everything else, they were wired the same. Toughness, you name it. But they needed that skill that these guys have. They have another level of skill that, of course, a team that's just fresh out of expansion is not going to amass that kind of talent like what Bill Zito has been able to do. And again, because you've created an environment that the Miami Dolphins have failed to create, that now the Heat have lost, you've got the in. Oh, what do we got here? What do we got? Let me see. Play it, baby. Elbow room, man.
Some context on it. Stan Bennett, the crowd was chanting 8 more years. He started chanting with them 8 more years. So just a little context.
He's not going anywhere, bro. We can have a discussion about Marshawn and Ekblad. Okay? That's the discussion. There's no discussion about Sam Bennett. Let's put it all into context. When do you see the Panthers just let stars walk away? They don't do that, really. They keep their stars. Guys do leave, but it's rarely the big names. You kind of keep the big names. Okay? And the guy that won the Conn Smythe, yeah, you kind of have to keep him. So yeah, it's Sam Bennett's not going anywhere, dude. The conversation is all about Marshawn and Ekblad. Ekblad played great defense, but he had 20 games off from the suspension. He is an injury-prone player. I would be very careful at this stage of his life and his career. He still has gas in the tank. There's no doubt about it. But the question is, can I use that money for Marshawn and then still find another defenseman that there'll be a line of them that'll want to come over here now? I don't know, man. I know do you get tied? See, the problem is, and we've done this so much in our lifetime, in our history. I don't, but it happens. It's happened to me a few times, but it happens so often. Nostalgia. And because the name has been around or whatever, and we get tied to it. Oh, no, X. Oh, no, he just had 10 interceptions. No, now's the time to dump him. oh no, we just went to back with Jimmy, or 2 titles in the last few years, or title runs. No, you got to keep him. No, now's the time to dump him. And you got to know when to get off the gravy train, as painful as it might be. I would keep Marshawn, but we'll see what happens, man. We'll see what happens. Zito has made some amazing decisions. Remember, go ahead, Sean. What do you got?
No, I want to ask, did you see the stat on the time led in the Stanley Cup Finals between the Panthers?
Oh my
and the
God,
Oilers?
250 something minutes Florida led, and like 30 something minutes for the Oilers, right? I believe.
Yeah, it was 255-49 for the Panthers, 33-51 for the Oilers. All-time record for a championship series is set.
Well, when you score 2 goals right away in every game, you start off like gangbusters. You put your opponent behind the 8 ball every single time. And that's kind of what, Connor McDavid was talking about. And to his credit, he didn't point fingers or anything. He said, dude, they played their game. Skinner was talking about how they were just consistent. Constantly they played their game. They didn't change. And then he talked about how he thought, them changing things up, kind of hurt. And it's true. Instead of playing their game, they tried to get physical with the Panthers, and that was just stupid. We saw Toronto, and we saw now the Oilers try to become tough guys. And, dude, if that's not who you are, you're not going to be able to do it. So use your speed. Use your skill. That's who you are. Try to keep winning that way. You got to keep doing it. The Panthers have matured so much in every way possible. And in every situation that they just know how to handle all of these things nowadays. And it's scary for other teams because you're not going to get into their heads mentally. It's impressive shit, dude. And when you lead, when the differential of lead is that ridiculous, that's pure domination. Clee Torres, thank you, sir, for the love on the super chat. He says, thanks to Big O for always representing South Florida with insightful honesty. Thank you, sir. That's what we try to do. That's what we try to do. That's what we try to achieve every single freaking day. Give you guys the honest truth about our situation and our teams. You may not like it, or you may love it, but at least it's not going to be a bunch of bullshit. John Montgomery, thank you, sir, for the love on Venmo. Appreciate you. Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show, Cash App or Venmo. We get 100% of those donations. We love it on Super Chat, but stinking YouTube takes 30, and that's, a little too much. He says, thank you for always covering our teams. Go Cats go. John from Baltimore. Thank you, John. Appreciate you, sir, for always staying loyal to us here on the channel. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Don't forget, folks, to hit the like button. Smash the like button. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the notification bell. That way you know when we're going early. Okay? And, of course, thank our friends at Welton Rheaume. 954-966-4646. Jeff Welt and Daniel Rheaume. I was just hanging out with Jeff this past weekend. We were at the Peter Hook and the Light concert, and he was loving the Joy Division part of it all. But great lawyers, and we will have their segment coming up with David Feronis. If you're sadly dealing with bankruptcy or homeowner property damage, or listen, we've got storm season now. So keep this number, 954-966-4646. And don't forget, folks, that Panthers now won the title. Caneswear is going to have Panthers gear, this hat, Time to Hunt. I got it there. You can get a lot of Panthers gear there. All kinds of stuff so you can sport your World Championship gear. They'll get that too. Remember, use our code BIGO10 so you can get 10% off. You can go online at caneswear.com, and if you order over $99, you will get free shipping. All right. So if you want to sport your 2-time champion Florida Panthers and you want to sport just a nice, sweet logo, you know what I'm saying? That's it. Or you want to get championship gear, you can do that. I'm sure the back-to-back is coming. So next year, Pat Riley comes in the picture. Yep. Because if they three-peat, they got to talk to Pat Riley about that now, and he'll get a little cutsy cut there because he owns that trademark three-peat. So our own Pat Riley comes into the mix next year for the Florida Panthers. Inter Messi Friends Club is old and slow. Yeah, it's that's kind of a fraudulent thing, unfortunately. That's what it's turned into. Roderick Freeman, good morning. Oh, and Sean, ESPN analyst, said that even though it went 6 games, it felt like a sweep because of how dominant the Panthers were. Yeah, you knew they were the better team right from the get-go. I would agree with that. I would definitely agree with that. Anthony says, I still think in my lifetime, born in 91, I will not be on earth to witness a Dolphins Super Bowl. On the bright side, saw everything else. LOL. I mean, listen, right now they are not close to a Super Bowl. Not even close. You know? But what are you going to do? It's one of those deals. Who was first in? NorCal was in. He said, congrats to the Florida Panthers. Enjoy your cup. Puff, puff, give. Fins for life. He's already at work. Appreciate it. Oscar Rojas, I see there. Jay Gelfin. The pillars who are constantly here at Costa Nostra. Steven Gonzalez. Unbelievable to think that this team is only going to get better. It's wild. It all starts at the top with ownership and GM, and it trickles down from there. Classy and well-run organization. Yeah. Jeff in Long Island. Gus 1388. Yeah, Roberto Luongo. And, the good thing was they didn't use a Miami Dolphin because we know that that's bad luck. Although they put out the record, they said it was 6-3. I'm calling bullshit on that, but whatever. I think the Panthers were trying to be nice, and they didn't want to, kind of sully the local team since they're sullied enough. But here's the most important part. Okay, we were wondering if Dolphin beat writers going on the Panthers beat, would they bring the funk of 40,000 years from Davey and now in Miami Gardens, okay, to the Florida Panthers? Well, we found out David Furones was on this Panther run. And he went to Edmonton to enemy territory, and they won. And then he comes back, and last night he seals the deal and he wins a title. So I told you earlier, I was in championship locker rooms with the Marlins, with the Miami Heat. I've covered championships. So it's certainly not me either. You know what I'm saying? Poupart admitted last night he was off the Panthers beat the last 2 years, and what's happened the last 2 years? And he's been on the Dolphin beat forever. So we now know that David Furones doesn't bring the funk of 40,000 years because he is a champion, and he is next on the Welton Rheaume Miami Dolphins and Florida Panthers report.
All rise, football fans, as the Welton Rheaume Miami Dolphins report with David Furones is in session.
Welton Rheaume has more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes. They are committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. Call them for a free consultation. 954-966-4646. Here's Miami Dolphins insider David Furones.
All right. How's it feel to not be the modern day Drake or Charles Barkley?
Boy, Big O, what a glorious Wednesday morning. I don't even know. Yeah, it is Wednesday morning. It is today after the Panthers won the Stanley Cup. And as a Dolphins beat writer, I'm just very glad and enthused to have some experience covering a championship quality team. That now I can one day take to cover the Dolphins Super Bowl run when that happens.
Is this your first, being in a championship? By the way, but you guys never were in the locker room with them spraying champagne or anything, right?
No. They take us onto the ice where they have their family around after the Stanley Cup is hoisted around. So it's not like the champagne everywhere.
David, they don't do that anymore, right? They don't really do that anymore. They don't allow the media in the locker room. In '97, the Marlins are celebrating. They're throwing champagne in the locker room. I'm in there with all the media. I'm pulling players aside to get interviews with my cassette player, Huizenga, you name it, everybody. I interviewed everybody. And I'm getting sprayed with champagne, and so is Huizenga. They're pouring it on his head and shit. All that shit is going on. And in the heat, I remember in '06, I was in the locker room and they're all spraying the champagne all over the place. Jason Williams is screaming, "They said I was a problem. They said I was a problem. What about now? What about now?" And I'm watching UD cry and shit, and Alonzo Mourning and all that kind of shit. And I don't think they allow the media anymore in the middle of the fray. Do they?
At least not in the NHL. I'm trying. I mean, I did cover the home games of the finals between the Heat and Nuggets. That was a couple years ago. Obviously, there was no celebration there, but not in Miami, at least for Denver. But I feel like we don't see those as much anymore. Those shots. Yeah. Though they would still be provided by the team, if anything, though. But
no, for the players, yes. But what I'm saying is media being
right. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. As far as seeing those shots from media members that captured them.
I don't think that happens anymore, dude. I don't think that happens anymore. It's kind of shame how much more sterile that part has become. But anyway, let's get back to this. Just an amazing feat, dude. To watch the domination. We were just talking about how they led for 250 minutes and the other team led for 30 minutes or something in the damn series. Just it just didn't seem like a 4-2 series.
No, that's what happens when you have one team who wins 2 games in overtime. One of them on a very flukish goal where Leon Draisaitl isn't even really trying to score to shoot, and he just deflects it off Nico Michalo's skate into the net. And then the Panthers, you have them winning 3 of their 4 wins by several goals. We have a 5-1 win, a 6-1 win, and what was the other one? 5-2. So. Yeah, they did have one overtime winner as well. Brad Marchand providing the heroics in Game 2 in Edmonton. But really, and the difference was because this is how you establish a stat like leading for 255 minutes in a series is they scored early and often. They had at least 2 goals in every first period of the game. I was astonished to hear that. Even as I was covering the games, I was like, wait a minute, is that right? They've had 2 goals every first period, and they had 2 and then in one case 3. So that's how you play with a lead for most of the game. It's you score early and that often, and the Panthers jumped on top early in games and for the most part held on to the leads. But obviously there were a couple. It is hockey, and sometimes another team can get one and then eventually win it in overtime. So that's why it did drag on to 6. But the Panthers truly dominated, not like a true 4-2 series.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. And again, we were talking about this last night when the Heat were at the end of their run. It looked like the end of their run because Wade was already on one knee. And so, LeBron was kind of like, all right, this team's kind of breaking down. I'm on my way out of here. Let me get out of here. And so, Ray Allen was already an older player. What more were you going to get out of Battier, all that kind of stuff? So you were kind of on the brink of ending this whole when the Marlins did it. It was one team that did it, and then you broke it up. And then the next time they did it 6 years later, it was a young team, but you had a cheap owner and you really couldn't keep it together. So it was gone. This is like something that is in the middle of it. You're not, I'm not going to say you're just starting because that's ridiculous, but you're kind of in the middle of it and you're really not anywhere near the end. Why? Your stars are all in their prime, dude. That's crazy. That's really, really, except maybe the goalie. And if you bring back Marchand, but most of your like lead guys, they're really in the prime of their careers, not the twilight of their careers. Like, let's say Wade, Ray Allen, Battier they were in the twilight of their career. It's a little different.
Yeah. And this front office and Bill Zito, give them credit. They've also had some fines too. It's not just that, okay, they pulled off the ballsy trade of Huberdeau for Kachuk, and that changed the culture, the physicality of the team, made them built to win in the playoffs. But finding a Sam Bennett, finding Gustav Forsling, who was claimed off waivers years ago. I almost liken him to I covered the Dolphins to like Zach Sealer, the way the Dolphins found him as a 2019 waiver claim from the Ravens, and then now he hasn't been an all-star, but he's just sort of been on the fringe of that, and one of the best players at his position. So it's a combination of some core guys that have been around since, like Alexander Barkov is the captain and has been at the core, the foundation of this roster. Aaron Ekblad, who's been here for long, they had Sergei Bobrovsky from back then, and then just finding these other additions when it was either a Bennett, when it was Kachuk, when it was Reinhardt, just recently a few years back. So it's just you keep adding on to it. Now you're bringing a Seth Jones. So it's just all these pieces coming together, and it's a combination of the stars that have been brought in, and sure, yes, like a Brad Marchand at the trade deadline, you make the move that when it presents itself, you just got to do it, and players want to come down here, and you can say everything about the state income tax and obviously wanting to join a champion, but then also it's just smart moves, the economical ones that aren't as easy to find, and this front office has hit.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. It is obviously pretty fun to watch. All right, I got to ask you and switch over to a little Dolphins. I see Costa Nostra says, Furones, in your opinion, will the Dolphins keep Jonnu Smith? I guess he's a hopeful Dolphin. I've been telling you he gone. You saw Drew Rosenhaus on Sunday again. Did you hear the word negotiations at all again, by the way? Or did you hear just fluid and in discussions and the same kind of BS? So I ask you now, do you really believe Jonnu Smith is coming back to this team?
So I've been hopeful that that's the case, because I feel like that is. I'm getting
hopeful they win a Super Bowl, bro. I'm hopeful the Dolphins win the next 5 Super Bowls, bro. I mean, really, seriously, I'm hopeful. Yeah, I know. Reality. Let's go with reality. That's what we live in, not what we hope. There's a lot of things I hope for. I hope I was a millionaire, and I know I never will be one. But go ahead.
No, I was saying that to set it up because I have heard. I'm getting there because I have heard that yes, it's still Jonnu Smith's preference on his end to be with the Dolphins. We heard Mike McDaniel say that yes, he would still like him back, but then I also thought it was telling when the last day of minicamp. Boy, that feels like so long ago for me because I covered games 4, 5, and 6 since that last day. But I asked Mike McDaniel among all the adjustments that he's got to make this season, which was one of the stories I wrote from the end of minicamp at sunsentinel.com, how important is the pass-catching tight end in complementing the pursuit of getting the ball to Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle again more. And then his answer might have been kind of telling where, hey, it doesn't need to necessarily be the pass-catching tight end as we call it. It could be production that you get from what you might label a blocking tight end, but you give him the short passes and he can get yards after catch, which is something that Jonnu Smith does really well, by the way. But it could be any one of the 5 eligible receivers. He doesn't look at it as, I need it to be this pass-catching tight end dominating the middle. I just need it to be any one of the eligibles. We have 5 eligibles there. Give me other threats that can take the pressure off of Hill and Waddle. So I thought that might have been a little telling, like, hey, it doesn't need to be the tight end. And this offense, frankly, overall, was running better in 23 and 22 and getting the ball more to Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Actually, when they didn't have Jonnu Smith in there. And that's no knock on Jonnu, of course. Great season he had. But I don't think it necessarily needs to be that way of it's got to be the tight end and to take the pressure off the big play receivers on the outside. So that might have been a little telling, like, writing is on the wall. We're prepared for life beyond Jonnu Smith, and we can find ways to get the ball to our receivers without having that big-time Pro Bowl caliber now tight end in Jonnu.
He's gone, dude. He's gone. And let me tell you why, another thing why he's gone. Let's be honest. Let's talk about what's really going on. And I talked about this yesterday. You know, I just read an article where Jalen Ramsey wasn't even considered a top 10 cornerback anymore. And you're paying him like a top 2 cornerback is what you're paying him. And so you're trying to trade a guy that no longer is top 10, no longer dominant, for dominant money. And that just, you know, that's why there is no market for him, actually. Because if anybody's going to take him off your hand, bro, you're going to have to eat a lot of that salary. Now, the opposite is Jonnu Smith. You're not paying him shit. It's a very manageable, reasonable salary. And of course, he wants an extension, but it's not a 5-year extension. You'll probably give him an extra 2 years because it'll be like a 3-year contract that you can get out after the second season. That's what you'll probably do with him, you know, that kind of deal. And so if he fits your system, you're not going to have to break the bank because he's trying to get out. So he doesn't have all the leverage in the world either. You know what I'm saying? So this is a very manageable thing for the Miami Dolphins, being able to trade. And notice, did you notice, one more time, you got to listen to what they're saying. Did you notice that Drew Rosenhaus said, and I think this will be settled by training camp? Did you hear him say that on Channel 7? I'm paraphrasing, but he said something like that. You heard him, right? Which there he gave you like a clue that there is some progress being made. It's just not with the Dolphins, but he thinks there's enough interest that something will be done by training camp. And now that you're out of all these mini camps, there's no chance of him getting injured. And by the way, did he not practice at the end of that?
Right. Well, you're saying mini camp?
Yeah.
Right. Not at mandatory mini camp. Correct.
Right. And so, again, you're, as a team, you're not practicing him because you want to make sure he doesn't get injured because you got to trade him. So now as a team that you're acquiring, you don't want to really acquire him now. So there's no hurry. Now is when you want to acquire him before training camp. And that's why Drew said that. So, ladies and gentlemen, expect Jonnu Smith to be traded right before training camp.
I don't think that necessarily means 100% that, because I feel like it could be that. And remember, things are fluid. That means things can change. So, but right before training camp could also mean, all right, we went back to the negotiating table and we figured out a number that both sides are happy with. And now, and you get to that point because the pressure was put on, which Drew Rosenhaus knows. He's a master of doing this. He's done it for so many years, especially down here in South Florida. Drew
Rosenhaus is trying to correct a wrong and make it a right.
He's trying to get his player paid. He's trying to get his player paid.
You try to inject hopium into this by telling the fans, well, things can change. No, it's not going to change. And let's be honest here. Drew Rosenhaus negotiated a shitty deal for Jonnu Smith, and that's why he's in this position. And now he has to try to negotiate a much better deal so he can look better. I know you can't say that because, you got to go talk to the guy, call him and all that. I don't give a shit, so I'm going to say it. But, Drew's trying to make a wrong a right is what he's trying to do right now.
You can also give, honestly, Chris Greer credit for that signing, which is that's the thing.
He does it all the time. He does it all the time.
Great find. Yeah. And in the NFL, sometimes it's just damned if you do, damned if you don't. You paid Jalen Ramsey all this big money, and now he's going to be gone, and he's not the same cornerback he was when you paid him. But then you make a great signing of Jonnu Smith, great, tremendous value, where you pick him up for a little over $4.2 million per over 2 years, and then he has a Pro Bowl season, so it was a tremendous value signing. But then now he comes forward and says, "Well, I deserve to make more," which from his perspective, absolutely.
They do that all the time. The linebacker in the middle of the season was a freaking fine for them, and he'll come back this year, and if he's as good as he was, you got yourself a nice little player there in the linebacker. The sealer you found,
right?
As much as you hate it, Van Ginkel is a fifth freaking rounder, bro. You know what I'm saying? So they do a great job of finding people. Kader Kohu, who's going to be the top corner on your team. That guy's an undrafted street free agent. They do a really nice job of finding stuff. If Julian Hill can get the farts out of his brain, he's got every ability to do whatever Jonnu did and more, because he's a much better blocker actually than Jonnu. So, that's the crazy part. I understand what they see in Julian Hill, but man, he's got to stop being a screw up. So they do this all the time. Agba was a steal the first couple of years. They got 18 sacks out of it for minimal money. They do a good job of finding stuff. It's just a matter of the balance of let's keep the right players and let the right players go. They're kind of that's the one thing. They have talent coming in. They just got to kind of manage which ones they keep, which ones they don't.
Yeah, I'm with you. Big money that has been sent out to on some regrettable contracts, and that you're stuck with for a long time, and then seeing some guys have success elsewhere. It was a tough situation to manage so many worthy players that you wanted to keep among a roster core, and it's a difficult task in the NFL, but obviously dropped the ball in identifying which were the ones to proceed with and which were the ones to let walk.
Yeah. Like Tyreek Hill. You got to know when to hold them and when to fold them, bro. And you ended up now tying yourself down to another year with this guy. And the worst part is your entire future's success rides on that dude. That's scary, man. That's scary, David. You want to rely on reliable people. When you have to rely on the unreliable, that's really tough.
At least he won't come away with some hamstring injury from racing Noah Lyles, because now that's canceled. And what was the most predictable thing that it would not happen? I know I tweeted and some people would say, well, it was surprising that Noah Lyles backed out. Well, I just meant like that it wasn't going to happen. We never even had a real date for it.
Why does Noah Lyles need this anyways, bro?
He's an Olympic gold medalist.
Yeah. Why would he want to associate himself with this guy who is tied with all kinds of shit off the field, bad stuff? If he's going to race somebody, race a quality human being also at the same time and lift them up, not some attention whore. Okay. Because really, I mean, it's kind of what he is. He's an attention whore, and that's all. And that's all he does. He does shit because he If he's not getting any attention, brother, he must be probably in some state of depression, unfortunately, or something. It's sad. It really is sad. You know. By the way, somebody sent me something. I haven't even looked it up if it's true. Did he get somebody else pregnant again?
I would not know that.
Somebody sent me that on Twitter right now. Sean, can you look it up if his wild sperm is swimming all over the place again? There. By the way, Jalen Ramsey, the opposite, right? You're paying him an enormous amount of money, and you're not going to be able to dump him. And teams know that he doesn't want to be there, and he's a problem child as it is. If the Dolphins don't eat a lot of his salary, do you see them getting out of this mess? Because this one is a mess. The other one is going to be easy to get out of, but this one is a mess, dude.
Yeah, I mean, actually, as more time progresses, now I'm starting to become worried of what happens if more weeks pass by and you're approaching training camp and you still haven't found a resolution of finding a team for him, finding how much money you need to pony up to send him elsewhere. What, if anything, of value you can get in return, which already wouldn't help you for this year unless it's a player that's involved, because the draft already came and went, so you didn't have any picks come in for trading Jalen Ramsey. So you're right. I mean, a mess is an adequate word. It's an appropriate word to describe what could potentially happen and maybe what's already going on with this Jalen Ramsey situation. So it becomes worrisome the more time passes. I mean, I'm already surprised that it's June 18th and we're still talking about it like with nothing, no kind of like crumbs right now that are just leading us to anything. I thought pretty shortly after June 1st, they might find something, and that was kind of like the magic date, the magic number to get them to pull something off with the salary cap implications. But this is still going, so it's a serious issue to find a team for Jalen Ramsey to go to, and probably has some implications on the inability to give Jonnu Smith the money he's looking for, to sign an outside cornerback to fill that void, because you don't know how much of that salary you're going to have to eat up in order to trade him. So how much do you have available for this cornerback signing that is still on the offseason checklist, and whatever Jonnu Smith resolution comes of that situation?
You know, and listen, I'm really surprised that we're still here with Jalen Ramsey, because last time I checked,
Here we go.
Adam Schefter said there was a line like for Bonnie Blue trying to trade for him. I mean, that's what Adam Schefter said. There was a Bonnie Blue like line.
Oh my God, I just got that.
Man. What happened? What happened? What happened, Adam? I thought there were a lot of men ready to dive in.
Oh, God.
You said it on ESPN. You said, hey, there's this, market for Jalen Ramsey. I'm thinking, okay. I personally, of course, was laughing when he said that. I'm like, there's an agent. There's a reporter. Most of these national insiders, I know a little bit about this shit. These guys have to do favors for people.
Right.
Sometimes they have to look bad, and they have to lay on the sword sometimes. So then they're going to give them 15 other great stories, and one of them is just, hey, bro, I need some chum in the water, and that's what that was. Because there was no way there was going to be a big line for Jalen Ramsey at that kind of money, bro. Come on. Yo no nací ayer. Okay? I wasn't born yesterday, bro.
I think you made more of that comment than anyone else really took it for. I mean, I feel like it was just like in passing, like, or there's conversations going, there's phone calls being made, but not that it's to the point of seriousness and an imminent trade.
Papa, you can't have it two ways, because then if something happens on June 2nd, oh, hey, I told you there was a lot of action for him. And then when nothing happens, he doesn't mention it at all. Everybody forgets about it. They just don't know anything.
You don't forget.
It's like Rick Sanchez and San Pedro. Eso se olvida. Obviously that happened before you were even born. But that's all right. It's all good, bro. It's all good. Todo se olvida. And I understand that. And I know how this world works. And I get that. And it's kind of like you'll forget about it. You'll forget about it. You'll forget about that I said we're going to, we'll own the Panama Canal and we're going to take over Greenland. But you'll forget about it. You just keep going on and you just forget about it. That's the way this world works. You know what I mean? But there are some of us that have memories like a effing elephant. And so I kind of, that's why I'm here. That's what I do. You know what I'm saying? So, it's fun. What can I tell you? All right, what do you got going on, the Sun Sentinel? And a great question. What's it feel like, Steven Gonzalez says, to cover a soft team and now cover a tough team?
Okay, I thought it was going to go the route of covering a champion, but I'll tell you, covering that.
You cover a champion. Now you covered a champion. Tell us there, David Furones.
Yeah, well, as far as the toughness and physicality, you really appreciate how they wear opponents down and how you can see it over the course of a series. Like the Toronto Maple Leaf series, the Toronto starts fast and wins 2 games, but then the Panthers are just pounding them and just they make you not want to be on the ice with them. And then you saw how they just crushed them by the end of that series. This Oilers series, it was these overtime games, and it's great hockey that's coming down to game winners in overtime, double overtime, the first 2 games. And then games 3, 5, and 6, the Panthers dominate. Game 4, they even had a 3-goal lead. Like, they just wear you down over the course of a series. Opponents do not want to play them for a 7-game series, and most of the time don't get to 7 games because the Panthers are finishing you off before then. So that's really what you notice is you just see these cats on the other team. They're just dead. They're cooked by the end of a series with the Panthers, and they're just waving the white flag. So you really appreciate that when you watch it.
It's like an old time Roberto Duran fight. When Duran was in his heyday, he hit you with a mountain of power, but then he also had the skill that he could hang with you at the same time. And when he was in his prime, when he was unstoppable. And that's what the Panthers remind me a lot. They have the power to hang in there with you with their toughness, and then they have the skill to hang with you, because when Barkov can do what he did to Connor McDavid, dude, that's some shit. Okay? And that's the problem with the Oilers. That's the problem with Toronto. These are teams that, they have great offensive skill, but they can be tempered with physicality. And then the Panthers just have that perfect combination, man. It's a beautiful. Really.
Those teams are learning the tough lesson of the Panthers when they won the President's Trophy back in, was it 22 now? And then made that trade, got more physical, and we've seen the dividends pay off.
It's interesting when you have the power and physicality of Zonka and Little and Langer and those boys. And then you also have the beauty of Paul Warfield on the outside, and then you have a defense that's called No Name. It's interesting how they used to know the combination of winning, because if you watch the Philadelphia Eagles, they can hurt you on the outside with skill, and they can punish you in the middle with their line and their running game. And it's just, and by the way, skill comes out of their tight ends, and skill comes out of Saquon too, when he has to catch the ball and be out in the open field, and he can do dynamic shit too at the same time. So it's a combination. And if you don't possess that combination in a lot of sports, hockey and football, you're not going to win. So it's really interesting. It really is. David, as always, thank you, my brother. It is a pleasure. We'll catch up on Friday.
Yes, sir. Sounds good.
You got it. There you go. Welton Rheaume. We thank them. 954-966-4646. We are in hurricane season. A lot of our listeners, unfortunately. Yeah, dude. Of course, I want you to call Welton Rheaume, but I hope you never have to call him. But we're in hurricane season, and we had a lot of our listeners on the West Coast because, as you know, we've been lucky on the East Coast, but on the West Coast, they've been getting pounded. And last year, they got pounded by several storms, and a lot of our listeners called. And don't do it too late, and don't call ever the insurance company. You call Welton Rheaume first. They have their own adjusters. They send them. They assess the damage because the adjusters that work for the insurance company, they work for the insurance company. They work for the insurance company, not for you. Not for you. So you make sure you bring adjusters that work for you, and that's Welton Rheaume. And then they attack the insurance company. You never have to call the insurance company. That is such a burden lifted from you, where you have professionals that know all the laws, all the loopholes. 954-966-4646. You don't need it now. And I hope you never will. But if you do, you call these bulldogs. These guys are badasses. Okay, they've done it for a lot of our listeners already. I'm really happy about that over the last 5 years. 954-966-4646, bankruptcy, homeowner property damage, condo damage, criminal defense, business owner claims, commercial litigation, personal injury, consultations completely free. Jeff and Dan will take your call, listen to your issue, and they'll tell you if you got a case or not. Welt and Rheaume.
This has been another session of the Welton Rheaume Miami Dolphins Report with David Furones. At Welton Rheaume, they don't get paid unless you win. They handle complex personal injury claims caused by the fault of another in both state and federal courts. They handle auto, trucking, motorcycle slip and fall, and bicycle accidents. Call 954-966-4646. Welton Rheaume can help.
Brother, you're going to get cultural references here that are new, medium, old, really old. Just got to keep up with it. It's kind of the way it goes. If you're going to do a show, you're going to do a talk show, you got to be well-rounded, man. You got to be able to talk about all kinds of stuff and know about all kinds of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Even if you don't necessarily follow it. You know what I also follow? I follow Bitcoin, and I follow that it made a nice little dip. I took advantage. I don't know if you did. I took advantage last night because the Panthers won me a nice little bet plus 1,000. It's a beautiful thing. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Bitcoin is now, after dropping, it is now pumping a little bit, just a little bit. We're at 104,745. We went down to 103. So good stuff, good buying zone again, which is just kind of awesome. Enjoy. Anyway, so Adam Lichtenstein will join us at 11:30. We'll have some fun, and we'll talk to Adam. He followed this entire run, and then we'll talk to the great Bill Lindsay at noon, former Panther and, of course, broadcaster, and he does an excellent job, and can't wait to talk to him. This is just a lot of fun, and I'm not joking when I tell you nothing's changed in life, and in football you can get to be creative and all that, but you still have to win with the fundamentals, and the fundamentals are blocking and running and defending. And these are areas that the Dolphins are very poor in and have been poor in for a long time. And today I saw Chris Perkins. He had an article. Sean Stanley, let's show them the headline to that article in the Sun Sentinel. And I get it, dude. The quarterback sells. It's the hot topic. And it leads you all to, putting all of the success or the blame on the quarterback, which is just asinine. And so, and look, what what Perk said, it's all true, but there's one element that's missing from all of this. And there it is. Chris Perkins. Dolphins should get an even better, should get best ever version of Tua in 2025. Sure. Health-wise, hopefully he learns that he has to play the way he played 2 years ago. Let's see if he shows that kind of intelligence and doesn't do the stupid stuff. He's saying all the right things, but his talk is cheap until he proves it. Unfortunately, I know him to do too many stupid things with his body, that is. But here's the problem. Do you really want to get the best of Tua? Oh, you do? Oh, okay. So you're telling me that he's going to be having a clean pocket, because that's how Tom Brady succeeds, and that's how Peyton Manning succeeds, and that's how Drew Brees succeeds. So you're going to block. Oh, so you're also going to run. You're going to dedicate. You're going to be one of the top 5, 7 teams, at least 10 in rushing in the league. Oh, you're going to do that. Okay, awesome. And then you're going to have a defense that can defend, because that's what Jalen Hurts had. That's what Tom Brady had. That's what Drew Brees had. That's what Bob Greasy had. That's what Joe Montana had. He had all-stars, all-pros, all-world, all over the place. Offense, defense, receivers, tight ends, running backs, fullbacks. Oh, but it's cool. Oh, it's Joe Cool. Joe Cool doing everything. Well, Joe Cool had the shit that Marino didn't have. Nothing's changed. And so, yeah, you're going to get a version of Tua because he should have the intelligence factor at an all-time high, because this is year 6. Okay, that's great. And if he actually takes care of his body like he did 2 years ago, then, well, fantastic. The dude can play 10, 12 more years easily if he wants to play like that. Okay, fantastic. But none of it means anything if you can't block and you can't run the ball. Marino can throw for 5,000 yards in a season. It won't mean shit if you can't block, you can't run the ball, and you can't defend. Nothing has changed. And so here is Teron Armstead, okay, on some show there. I don't know. I forgot what show it is. Sorry. And he's talking about Tua and describing what he sees in Tua. Okay. Go ahead, Sean Stanley. Por favor, play that audio bite.
Teron, just looking at the former organization, the Miami Dolphins, a lot of what went wrong last year and what's gone wrong over the last half decade has been the injuries that have plagued Tua. Sitting here as an insider, and we're the outsiders, but as an insider, what are some of the things that you can point to as to why Dolphins fans and why NFL fans should have confidence that Tua is the guy for the Miami Dolphins long term?
I wholeheartedly believe in Tua, believe in his ability. I've seen him snap into a mode that looked familiar to me from Drew Brees. That's why I have no problem making that comparison. The consistency of that, him snapping into that like assassin mode, that sniper mode, that's that championship DNA that we want to see more consistently. I believe he can do it. I believe he can. We can keep him upright up front. I think the Dolphins season it comes down to Tua's availability, and if we can get Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips healthy. On that defense, I think those two guys healthy with Chop Robinson, it changes the whole dynamic of the team.
So if that were to happen, what are the expectations then for the Dolphins? We talking playoffs? We talking competing for the division? What do you see them being able to achieve?
If we can get those three factors, those three guys I named, there's no limit to me. I feel that strongly. There's no limit.
It sounds nice, and of course he's going to be still a player and be a classy guy and all that bullshit. If you don't block and you don't run the ball, he didn't really go out and say that. And it's not just about Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips. You still need a secondary. You can't count on those guys to shut down the quarterback in a second every down. So you're going to need a secondary. They don't have one. What are we supposed to like? There's no sky's the limit. You don't win championships without a secondary. Now, if all these young guys and they end up turning into something, that's fantastic. But right now they're nothing, and they've proven nothing. So we can't expect anything from nothing. You know what I'm saying? So until proven otherwise, I don't expect anything from the secondary. I expect a disaster from the secondary. It is very inexperienced. It just doesn't have enough. You know what I'm saying? So it's all nice. But again, back to the original point from everything. And like I told some dude out there, and you can tell by the people asking the questions in that interview, your focus on the quarterback is an obsession that so many of you have to drop. Your job in the NFL is to create the environment for your quarterback to win. And if you don't run, you don't win. And if you don't block, you don't win. But if you do, you can even win with Trent Dilfer. You can win with Peyton Manning not being able to throw 10 yards. And Tua is better than all those guys blindfolded. Tua with his right arm can throw better than Peyton Manning did in that last Super Bowl for Denver. Okay? Jay Fiedler can win that championship that Peyton Manning won. Yeah. Yeah. Jay effing Fiedler. Because you blocked, dominant. You ran, dominant. Just throw a couple of passes, dude. That's it. Just throw a couple of passes. Can you do that? Yeah. So that guy will easily do it. Okay? That guy will easily do it. But if you don't block, no. I don't want to, let me stop. He might get concussed. Okay, stop the head shaking. So you got to have a little fun. Anyway, it's really basics. So I get it, man. Talk about the quarterback. It sells, all that. But the Dolphins don't do anything until they get back to the trenches. So there you go. Remember, Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show. Cash App or Venmo. You can make a Bitcoin or Ethereum or Chainlink or Solana donation. They haven't made a Solana donations. Chainlink, yes. Obviously, Bitcoin and Ethereum. But no Solana yet. But you can on Venmo. By the way, Sean, were you on pregnant search? Did you find anything? Was there anything out there for real, or did somebody just send me something silly for bullshit purposes?
I don't see anything other than that he had the baby with the wife and the other one from the last time. But
okay,
so right. I don't see anything. Anything more. Sorry about that.
You good there?
I don't know. I might want to stay on the air just in case I fall out here.
Frankie says, Big O, Caitlin Clark got upset. Well, yeah, if you would too, if they're like poking you and all that other stuff. It's amazing, dude. Like the impact she has and the jealousy that's out there. It's just pure jealousy, dude. Doesn't matter. You know, it is awesome. I saw it. I watched it. Yeah, I was watching it until the game started, and then I started watching the game, and then I would go back to it when I had breaks and all that. But I watch all the Fever games. So yeah, I watched, and I loved Sophie Cunningham coming after the girl and taking her down and kind of sending a message. I thought it was fantastic. I really love watching WNBA basketball. And Caitlin was drilling shots from all over the place, dude. 25, 26, 28 feet. She had it going on yesterday. And so they're fun. They're a fun. Aaliyah Boston is a hell of a player. She's got great touch around the rim. Lexi Hall is a fantastic all-around little player. Helps out. What's it called? Kelsey Mitchell. She's a fireball, dude. She can shoot. I enjoy women's basketball. So whatever, man. It's all good. I think it'll grow in time, and I think our chauvinistic ways will kind of change. And I think, more men will adjust like I have, and we'll give it a chance, and they'll get into it and the storylines and all that. And so, and there's no doubt that she brings a lot of fire to the whole thing. So it's all good, man. It really is. It's fun to watch. I'm really enjoying watching it. By the way, how are the markets doing? Oh, pumping 224 points up. The S&P's up 27. All right. It's all good. They're all feeling good, bro. They're all feeling good. As long as Korg Island is safe in this war, it's all good in the hood. As long as they're not going to block anyways the straits, so it doesn't really matter. That won't happen. Iran's not that stupid. So the markets are doing all right. And Bitcoin is now going up a little bit. Let's see if it's getting back to 105, since it's on a upward trajectory from the 103 mark that it hit. And hopefully you all took advantage. And by the way, I want to thank the Panthers, because they won at a moment when there was a Bitcoin dip. And I pretty much put all of my winnings right in a Bitcoin, which was beautiful. I ended up buying a little dip in a Bitcoin. I like it. Because pretty soon we'll shoot past the 112 that we were at. Don't forget, folks, R&M Contractors. Call my guy Ray. Fantastic people in Dade, Broward County. If you guys need anything for your home, complete remodel, kitchen upgrades, waterproofing your terrace, your balcony, flood test reports, impact windows, door installations, bathroom upgrades, RMC Fisher Island on Instagram, so you can check out all their work. They're exceptional, top-notch work. Check it out. A lot of videos posted there, RMC Fisher Island, and reach out to Ray and Mike, 305-345-3649. All right. What else do we have going on in the world of sports? Let me check out the chat board. I haven't even gone through the chat board. And don't forget, folks, smash the hell out of the like button. Very, very important. Richard Krasko, Big O, why don't we tell Ramsey, hey, no one wants you at this salary. We tried. You're a Dolphin under contract, so suit up and play with us. Richard, I love you, dude. I freaking love you, bro. That's what I would do. Sorry, bro. We paid you. We tried to trade you, but nobody wants you, and we're just not going to give you away for nothing. So either you play. I already talked about this. I talked about it the other day. This is what I would do. You got to play. Oh, you don't want to play? Oh, okay. Well, you're suspended, and now we will challenge your salary because we're doing everything right. We try to accommodate, but we can't trade you. So it's your job now to get on the field, play for us, play for yourself, because by the trading deadline, if you play well, somebody may need you, and then we'll try to accommodate you again. And at that time, your salary will be a little less and you might be more desirable. But right now, we can't make you happy. We can't make us happy. Sorry. And then that's the road I would take. And that's it. You tried. But you're not going to pay 10 million of the 24 million or 12 million, because they're probably going to ask them to pay a lot of it. For what? For a low round pick? They're not going to do that. So, yeah. Big O Sam Bennett should demand to be paid in Bitcoin for his new contract, or just get paid and convert it right away to Bitcoin. But hey, getting paid in Bitcoin would be smart on his part. Get like half your salary in Bitcoin and then the other half liquid, so you can obviously live your life and pay your bills. I think most of us could probably live it off a hundredth of his salary, but it is what it is. Chris said it would be hard to trade him. He would try. Sorry, Jalen. Sit on the beach. You get paid. Go. You get paid. You just got paid. Go Dolphins. No, he would have to play, and if he doesn't, then I would suspend him and challenge and try to not pay him some money. That's what I would do. What else do we have? How's the UDFA wide receiver out of Arkansas been? Don't know, bro. Are they really playing football yet? Or are you getting high on Albert Wilson in mini camps? Come on, man. Let's go. Let's see what else. As far as the secondary goes, if the pass rush comes alive, that can mask some of that. But that's all we've got on defense as far as talent. Yeah, and only some. You're not going to be able to get away with everything. You just won't be. Not at the NFL level, dude. You're going to face quarterbacks that you cannot just – you're not going to be able to fluster. You're not going to be able to get to because they're going to beat you every time. So, yeah, that'll be a problem. That'll be a problem. Big O, the Oilers' two superstars were gassed and worn down by the Panthers' depth and playing style from all their roster. Hockey is an example of team depth makes winning hockey in the playoffs. Amen? You are correct. As always, Brett, you know your shit. Lenny Pena, a lot of arm queens out there just want the 6'5" rocket arm QB, but it's about what the QB has around them. Most important, what's between the ears. A segment of the Dolphin fan base doesn't get it. But the beauty for writers is that fans aren't very smart, and some writers aren't very smart either. And so they also go with the whole quarterback bullshit. So they've got a lot of people that will actually go with it. And they will read and all that kind of stuff. Look at the guy asking about an Arkansas UDFA, and we're in June. Like, who gives a shit about anybody at this time? All I care about is, are they healthy? Okay, great. Let's get to, like, real camp and preseason and the games, and then we'll start seeing if anybody is anybody. You know what I'm saying? Let's see. Come on, Big O. Let them take the field before we judge. Let's just watch. No, I don't do that stuff, bro. I don't do that. If I don't like it, I'll tell you. And if I love it, I'll tell you too. You know? I don't like anything that the Dolphins are doing this year with that coach. You're not getting anywhere with Mike McDaniel. Does not matter. Your team needs to be so dominant to win. You got to be the Cowboys of the mid-'90s, and then you're adding Barry Switzer, who's doing absolutely nothing except talking shit. And then, you know, the team runs on cruise control because Jimmy left everything in place. So, you know, that's it. You're safe. That's how you can win with a guy like Mike McDaniel. Outside of that, you actually need real coaching, which Mike McDaniel does not bring to the table at all. Whatsoever. Okay. By the way, we are at Acura of Pembroke Pines twice a month, broadcasting live there at Acura of Pembroke Pines at 15601 Pines Boulevard, folks. And if you own or lease an Acura, they've got a service center that is second to none. Go see my guys, Mike Chan and Jordan Ferber. They do great work. And they've got the 17th anniversary sale going on right now. And the Integra 2025 model, you can get it for $339 a month, 3.9% financing for 60 months. The ZDX, you can get electrified, $439 a month, 0% financing, 72 months. And the RDX, my wife drives it. She's beating that thing up over and over again. You can get it at $419 a month, and you can get 4.9% financing for 60 months. So get on down there and check out all the deals. All right. At 15601 Pines Boulevard, just off of I-75 and Pines. Finest Acura dealership in the business. It is Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. And tell him that Big O sent you, okay? See Larry Schlossberg out there. Tell him that Big O sent you, man. Jay Ellingsworth, thank you, sir, for the love and the super chat. He says, Big O, on Edmonton radio, they are saying the Oilers need to remake the team because of the Panthers. I believe you said that last night. Yep. I said last night that Toronto and the Oilers are going to blow up their teams because they have to make changes in order to beat the Panthers, who are in their prime. And while they have the skill, they don't have the physicality that comes with it. So they've got to find that balance now. And it's a lot like what I talked about last night. And Jay, thank you for pointing that out. The Lightning forced the Panthers to do that. And this ownership group, if I remember correctly, Sean, I think this ownership group in their early stages even went to Tampa to see how things are done in Tampa, like the periphery and the atmosphere and all that kind of stuff, because they were like, well, we got to do this. And so they learned how to take down the top dog in the state, which was in the NHL. And now they're the top dog in the state and in the NHL. And so if you want to be the top dog in the NHL, you have to build your team to beat the Panthers. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's actually the biggest compliment that this team could have, that you are the standard and everybody else has to now find a way to knock you off. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Ocala Joe in the house. While I'm not a hockey fan, congrats to you and all the hockey fans on the back-to-back champions. Get on board, Ocala Joe, man. Watch them next year. Take some time. Learn. You'll love it. What do you got, Sean?
Johnny Lazarus. He's a host of NHL and a hockey analyst. He was talking about the Florida Panthers may have shut down Connor McDavid. But there needs to be more credit given to them than there should be a knock on McDavid. Over the last two playoffs versus Florida, McDavid, 4 goals in 13 games. Kucherov, 0 goals in 10 games. Matthews, 1 goal in 7 games. Pasternak, 1 goal in 6 games. Panarin, 1 goal in 6 games. They shut down the top players. This is how good they are.
Well, and again, we started the show by talking about the tsunami that comes at you. So tonight it's Carter Verhaeghe and Lundell and Luosterainen burning you. And then tomorrow night it's Marchand and Tkachuk and Bennett. And then the next night it's Barkov, it's Seth Jones, it's give me a name that I've left out, but that's kind of what goes on. And that's the problem. You can't focus on one dude. You focus on one dude, everybody else takes you out. And that just becomes a problem for every team. And it's just one line after another, and it's too much. It's just too much. It's not the same people every night. And that's the problem with some of these other teams. They're led by, and remember, we used to say that too here. Oh, man. I was one of those fools. Oh, we need a sniper. Oh, we need a sniper. Oh, we need a sniper. No, dude, you need snipers. Look at Reinhardt. Reinhardt was in a funk for a while after the injury. And then he started waking up, and oh my God. All of a sudden, Reinhardt is back to Reinhardt, It's just one of those things. What are you going to do? But it's just awesome. It's awesome. And they are the standard right now. And everybody is chasing the Panthers. And it's really, really cool. See what else do we have here. Marner is a very talented but soft player who never performs in the playoffs when it matters most. Kind of like Huberto was with, yes, very soft, yes. And that was my problem, Brett, with the Panthers a few years back, that they were too soft, you know? And Barkov is a great player, but he's kind of like a goober. And now you brought more out of him because Tkachuk has brought it out of him. But yeah, like I said it, your team cannot be led by Barkov and Huberto. You have to get rid of Huberto. You keep Barkov because he's a freak of a talent, but he's not really like a rattle the cage like leader. You know what I'm saying? That's not who he is. He's not the raw guy. You know, he's the incredible player that goes about his business, like Zach Thomas. Zach's not a raw guy. He's not going to go. He's going to be a pro's pro. He's going to show you how to play. He's going to be your inspiration by watching his effort always. But he's not out there to be rattling people's cages and criticizing others constantly. That's not who he is. He expects you to be a pro like he is. That's kind of Barkov's thing. So Tkachuk is different. Tkachuk takes on the real leadership role of making sure guys are good, getting in the heads of other teams and players and playing physical and being, all the things. And then obviously being the face of the franchise and talking and representing and all that. Those are things that are just not Barkov's thing. It's just not. He just wants to play the game. So, and it's fine, but you needed to go find that other element. And the other element was Tkachuk. Tkachuk is, and it was great that he got that goal. Did Adam? Hey, send Adam the link. Adam Lichtenstein. I thought I sent him the link. I might have screwed up. Hold on. My bad. Okay, hold on. All right, there we go. What else do we have? All right, good shit. We'll get Adam Lichtenstein on now. You got his email, right? You got it there? It's not. It's in the Sun Sentinel, bro. Whatever, or on his Twitter or whatever. Let me see. I can send it to you. You should have it there. What else do we have? Marlins, Heat, and Panthers have won multiple titles in the past 20 years. Dolphins have won one playoff game in that span. Yeah, the Marlins are lost, and the Dolphins are lost. Dolphins and the Dolphins won't win anything until they make a coaching change. That's for damn sure. I think they have a guy that can get them the talent, but they've got to fix their coaching problems. That's for sure. Panthers have culture and organization identity. Yes, sir. And Zito is a genius. You are correct, Jay. Dolphin Brass should visit the Panthers and see how things are done. I don't think that'll really save them. Big O Marchand was the perfect addition made by the Panthers to take them over the top. He is such a smart leader by example and talented player who thrives in the playoffs. Yeah. Well, he's a Hall of Famer, dude. And when you add people like that, and he still had gas in the tank. That's the other thing. That's the only challenge about re-signing him or signing him to a contract, not re-signing him because you've never signed him in the first place. Signing him to an extension is that you're gambling that he is going to get it together and figure it out, and not get it together and figure it out, like stay together, and that he's not going to get old on you in the next couple of years. Like the Heat trying to bring Durant in at 37, it's insanity, bro. Insanity. Okay. And that's because you're desperate and trying to hang on. But with Marchand, if he's looking to break the bank, there's no chance he stays. But if he's looking to have a manageable salary, if you can do that and he wants to be a part of this environment for the next couple of years and you feel he has the gas in the tank, then you make that move. But if you're afraid that it could fall off the cliff, then you can't, like I told you, man, if you gun ahead and you tell me 2 out of the 3, I'm letting Ekblad go. And I'm going to take the chance on Marchand. The way he played, I think he's got gas in the tank, dude. I think he can play a couple of more years. Hockey is one of those strange things, man. Especially these kind of guys that love it. Oh, my God. Utah Mammoths are going to be buyers from us. Justin, if the players are about winning, the Utah Mammoths are not the place that you go to. You know what I'm saying? All right, let's do it. Adam Lichtenstein, kind enough to join us on the show as he has been covering the entire run of these amazing Florida Panthers. Let's bring him aboard. Adam, how are you doing, sir? AB Lichtenstein, by the way, on Twitter. How you doing, my friend?
Doing good. A little sleepy, but can't complain. Got more sleep than the Panthers did, I'm sure.
Yeah, they haven't slept. They've been in the elbow room probably all night long, having some fun. I mean, the video is always amazing and always fun. Dude, I mean, I don't know that we can go on and talk about the superlatives of this team and everything that is so exceptional. It's what can you add when you see this and you get to cover the way they dominated, the way they're champions, the way they carry themselves, the way they're mature about a lot of these situations. It's insanity how perfect they are, right?
Yeah, like the thing is, it's what really stood out to me, I think, during this playoff run is the Panthers don't always have the most prolific players on the ice. Like, who would you say are the best players in this series? Not
no, McDavid, best player, period.
McDavid's best player in the world. Leon Draisaitl is one of the best, maybe the best goal scorer in the world. The Panthers don't have that guy. Like, their leading goal scorer was Sam Reinhart, who, had 57 or whatever last year and 30-something this year, which is great, but not that prolific scorer. What stands out to me is their depth, and what Matthew Tkachuk said during the Toronto series is that this team is just built to just grind teams to the nub. And you might get 1 or 2 over on them to start the series. Toronto went up 2-0. Edmonton, won the first game, and you might get 1 or 2 games on them, but by the end of the series, they're going to drag it out, and you're not going to want to be on the ice anymore by the end of the series. You're going to be exhausted and ground down. And Edmonton, I mean, we saw throughout the series, like, able to score in bunches, able to come back and be resilient, come back from a 3-0 deficit, but it didn't feel like that last night. They went down 2-0, 3-0, and it felt over. And that's how it should feel when you're up 3-0 in a game like that with a team as good as the Panthers. But, like, Edmonton had shown that they could come back from that, but it didn't feel like they could do it last night. They just didn't have it in them. And that's what's probably impressed me the most is that this team, between the depth and the skill and the talent and the physicality, like, they just, by the end of a long series, the other team just doesn't really want to be there anymore.
And to go off your point, I was talking about it when I started the show. It's a tsunami of talent that comes at you in one wave after another because each line is just as impactful. And it just doesn't matter, dude. And it's really hard. And it's what you said. You could have that great sniper or two, but if that's what carries your team against this team, you're done. Because, okay, we'll sick Barkov on you like they did on McDavid, and then he'll take McDavid out. And Barkov has no ego. He doesn't need to score to, he's fine. He'll score within the game or whatever, but he understands his assignment, and then everybody else takes it upon them. And if it's Verhaeghe one day, or if it's Reinhart the other, or if it's Tkachuk, or if it's Bennett or whatever, dude, or defensemen. That's the other thing. This is a team that gets production out of their defensemen in the offensive game too. It's just, dude, it's a tsunami of offense that comes at you, and you
crazy.
just don't know where it's coming from.
And you didn't even mention the guys on their third line, which is probably the best line of the playoffs. You know, you have Anton Lundell, who's like a Barkov clone, basically. You know, just younger. Anchoring that third line. You bring in Marchand and Luosterainen, who had great playoffs. You know, had the best plus minuses I think of anyone in the postseason. Like, it's crazy depth. Like Gustav Forsling. I saw a tweet last night. You know, after the game, like it felt like he spent half the series on his stomach or something blocking shots, and he looked elite doing it. It's just they're incredibly deep. They're just a fantastic team. I mean, look, you have to be to win 2 straight titles. There's no weaknesses. Even the fourth line, like Paul Maurice has been giving credit to them for a month and a half now. Like he said, they changed the tenor of the series when they went down 2-0 to Toronto. And, you have Jonah Gadjevich, fighting Darnell Nurse and, Noshek and Greer. Like, this team is just so deep, so talented. Like, they all contribute. There's no empty, there's no void when someone's on the ice.
And the crazy part is, and we'll get to it, okay? Because free agency, and everybody's talking about the big 3 and who's coming back and all that kind of crap. But next year, you're already adding a free agent. And his name is Matthew Tkachuk.
Mm-hmm.
Because you didn't even see the real Tkachuk play. So, and he was still impactful. And we heard about all the injuries and the recovery. And obviously, he was probably playing at 70% or something right there at that moment. Next year, you get a 100% Tkachuk. That becomes even, a little more. And I think he's the kind of guy that is going to say, I want to have a really good year after my frustrating year of having all the injuries, not greedy or anything, but just kind of go out there and put on a show. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I Chuck next year is going to come back a very motivated individual.
Definitely. And it's funny. I looked over at Jordan McPherson from the Herald after Tkachuk scored, and I'm like, he has 8 goals in the playoffs. Like, I feel like he's like his offense hasn't been there for so many games in the postseason. Like, he's able to contribute in other ways. He had 8 goals and I think 15 assists. Like, that's a pretty good playoffs. And obviously he contributes in other ways, and he's such a key guy in the locker room, team leader. So like, you take Matthew Tkachuk at 70% over most players at 100, obviously. But yeah, and like you said, he mentioned, oh yeah, he tore his hip adductor like off the bone, which just, I tweak my knee and I don't run for a week, insane stuff.
Dude, the guy played with, what was a broken clavicle?
Clavicle 2 years ago.
And he scored.
Yeah. He's just like, hockey players are just different, but like even among hockey players, he's just like, it's crazy. Like the fact that he played through that, like I said, I tweak my knee and I'm sidelined for a week.
So I am in the free agent conversation. The Bennett one is ridiculous. That's not even that he's back, bro. Give me a break. That's just not even a conversation.
It just seems too perfect, right?
It's just stupid. Let's not get rid. The conversation is Marchand and Ekblad. Really. And Ekblad obviously had the benefits of a 20-game suspension. He has been an injury-prone player. Yeah, he's been with you forever and all that good stuff. And you've got a way where Marchand brings to the table and if you give him, let's say, a 2-year extension or something, will he be productive for those 2 years because he's up in age and all that kind of stuff? And Ekblad played great defense. There's no doubt about that in this series. Okay, but they've got several defenders, and you picked up a Seth Jones midway through the year. I'm just wondering which way are you going? Because believe it or not, I'm kind of thinking the same way I thought of when X had 10 interceptions. I said, trade him now at that offseason. And they didn't, and they screwed up. When they got to the second title of the Miami Heat with Jimmy Butler, I said, trade him now. You can get 4 or 5 first-rounders. They didn't, and they hung on for a few more years, and it became a disaster. For me, I think you have milked the Ekblad run as much as you can. He's been very injury-prone, and he's at an older age. I can replace him, I think. if you're Zito.
Yeah.
Sean adds so much more on both ends of the ice also. I know he doesn't add what Ekblad adds on the defensive side, but still, he adds some there too. And then the all Kachuk kind of factor that he has to him too, and all that, being an instigator. I think he fits so perfect. I would go, if I can afford it, and if he's reasonable, I would go Bennett and Marchand out of the three. Give me your case.
It all comes down to the money, obviously. They have $19 million in cap room. A big chunk of that, if they're going to keep Bennett's going to go to him, whether it's 8 or 10, whatever it ends up being. It's going to be a big chunk of it. It all depends on how much money they want. If Ekblad's made a ton of money in his career, he signed a big deal already. If he wants to come back on a team-friendly contract to keep more cap room available, then maybe you can play around with some things. Personally, if the choice for me comes down to Ekblad or Marchand, I lean Ekblad. I know Ekblad's had injuries, but so is Marchand, and Marchand's going to be 38 years old. They're so loaded. It's like you don't. I can't say, they need Ekblad or they need Marchand. They've got talent everywhere. So it's like
great point.
It's a good problem to have. Like, you don't need either of them.
Great point.
So like Seth Jones is great Ekblad insurance. Like, he could be the number one defensive pairing with Forsling. Maybe there's other free agents that Zito wants to go after. Like, who would have thought Nate Schmidt would have been as good as he's been? Who's another guy? He signed a 1-year deal. You want to bring him back? He's an older guy, but you want to bring him back? How much does he want? Does the income tax help? I don't know. I lean Ekblad because just because Marchand they're going to be 38. Is he going to want? How much money is he going to want? Does he want a 2 or 3 year deal? He, as great as he was in the postseason, and I cannot say enough about him and the way he played in the playoffs. He was hurt for a good chunk of the year. He wasn't, Brad Marchand of 2015. He was hurt, and how is he going to hold up over an 82-game season the next 2 years? I don't know. And again, I fully recognize, like, if you can bring them both back, excellent, great, do it. Ekblad's a Panther lifer. Marchand his addition went better than I think anyone could have possibly hoped. Nope. Dude almost won the Conn Smythe. Like I have nothing but positive things to say about both of them. If I had to pick, I'd lean Ekblad, but I don't think you need either of them definitively. But if you can bring them both back, you do it. If you can't, then I think if you have to choose, you say, thank you, Brad. This has been so much fun. Loved having you. We'll bring you back. Come back in 5 or 10 years for the reunion. Like, loved having you here.
It's a great point. You really, it's not like gun to head. Oh my God, we have to have them or we're done.
Yeah.
They can go and challenge for the next title. And they now are going for that D word now, dude, because you get that third championship, you are a dynasty.
Mm-hmm.
That's for sure. You don't have to get it next year. You can get it 2 years from now, but you got to kind of get it within this realm. And we couldn't start talking dynasty until you win that second one now. So that's actually become, and by the way, Pat Riley now comes into the mix, because if you three-peat, you're going to have to ask him and pay him a little bit of the rights fees and all that kind of stuff. But that now becomes a nice motivating factor when you come back to all of this. It's hard to come back to a 4th Stanley Cup. But if you're looking to be a three-peater, dude, that's some special company in hockey.
Oh, absolutely. And whether people want to talk about dynasties, like, is 2 and 3 years and 3 trips a dynasty? Maybe. I don't care. Like, some people can call it that. I'm not gonna be like, no, it's not. Or you could say it's not, and I'm not gonna be like, yes, it's
not for me. You got to have a third championship.
Yeah, that's totally fair. Lots
of teams win 2 titles.
Yeah. What I compare it to, though, is just at least in South Florida history. I mean, you're in top 3 or 4 all time in sports history.
I got them too. The Dolphins only get the number 1 spot because they have a perfect season. But if they get to the Stanley Cup next year, they pass the Dolphins, win or lose, because the Dolphins did not go to 4 straight Super Bowls. So they're going to 4 straight Stanley Cups. And if they win it, for me, they're already ahead of the Heat. Personally, for me. Okay. This team is much more dominant than the Heat was. I'm just saying, dude. And it's harder to do what they've done for me than what the Heat have done in a way. I'm sorry. I just kind of look at it a little differently. I've already got them at number 2. The Dolphins only have that number 1 spot because of the perfect season. That's it, dude.
So, but they're in there. This is, you look at the Mount Rushmore of South Florida sports runs. It's like, the Dolphins, the Heat with the LeBron James and Dwayne Wade Heat, the Hurricanes in whatever, choose your time period.
It was so wide.
Right. Yeah. But, choose your time period, whether it's 2000, 2002, or whatever.
But wait a minute. 83 to 91, Adam. It is 4 titles. So it is a dynasty.
Yeah. If there's a Mount Rushmore, you pick your top 4. They're on it without a doubt. You could choose. Everyone, different teams mean different things to different people. It depends on how old you are. If you're 17 right now, then this is the best thing ever. If you were 17 in 2011.
And I can't put college football with pro sports because, bro, you get to recruit several first rounders.
Yeah. It's all different, but
I'm gonna just put the pro teams in this ranking because you just can't include college. It's a separate deal, bro. It's just a separate deal.
Yeah, but this is, this is, as someone who's a Yankees fan, who I was just too young by like 2 years to really enjoy the late 90s, early 2000s run. I got there just too late. I've only seen really them win 1 World Series. Like, as for a franchise that's supposed to win the World Series every year and doesn't, like, Panthers fans should just relish every moment of it. Buy all the merch, buy the Sun Sentinel, and all our commemorative stuff. And just enjoy the hell out of it. Put the stuff on the walls.
I gotta tell you, the problem with your team is what is benefiting the Florida Panthers.
In what way?
Well, I grew up with it, bro. Old man is gone.
Yeah.
George Steinbrenner would not have any of this, bro. He would not accept second place. He would do everything he ever could to win. And that's what Vinny Viola does. Vinny Viola provides anything and everything. The Steinbrenners, they go only so far the numbers can take them at times. Whereas George Steinbrenner was all about winning. I'll worry about money later or balance everything out with my other businesses or whatever. Steinbrenner didn't give a shit about anything but winning. And their last championship was with Steinbrenner on his deathbed. Okay.
Yeah. And we can, without getting too deep into it, there are pros and cons to that. They had a long stretches without winning under Steinbrenner that people forget.
That's fine, but ultimately they were the Yankees under Steinbrenner. Under Steinbrenner, dude, I lived it all. I watched them. I watched him hire and fire Billy Martin and fight with him and all that craziness. And dude, it was wacky. It was unorthodox. It was sometimes dysfunctional. There's no doubt about it. And I'm not a Yankee fan by any stretch. My dad was, rest in peace, was a Yankee fan. But I always pick on people that pick on the Yankees because I always say, hey, asshole, they followed the rules. The rules are they can pay people. And so if they allow them, they are willing to pay the tax, then so be it, bro. That's too bad, so sad. That's the way it goes. The Yankees never broke any rules, ever. They didn't break any rules. They went along with every rule possible. So I don't know. It's just jealousy that people had. But George Steinbrenner is, bro, he's a rare commodity. He just is. There are certain owners, and you got to love those kind of people. And sometimes they're not like the most sane people in the world. And they don't do everything perfect. Viola does things perfectly. He's super classy. He's super, organized. He's an Army guy. It's different. He does it in a different way than George Steinbrenner. But I will ask any Yankee fan. You didn't live it, but I will ask any Yankee fan, will you trade this for that? And they'll trade this for that any day of the year because it was entertaining. It was crazy. But you knew every offseason and every trading deadline, The Yankees were going to do whatever it took to win. And I don't think they do that now. I don't think they go all the way. You know what I'm saying?
We can get into that another time, but you're definitely right. Vinny Viola, I mean, he's you want to point to the turning point for this franchise was when he bought the team. I mean, like this I grew up in South Florida, so I remember the Panthers of the 2000s and even the early 2010s.
The Viner teams and all that.
Yeah, like I remember Pavel Bure and Nathan Horton, Oli Jokinen.
Ears coming out of their pockets like, hey, we got a new well, I ain't got no money, you know.
So I remember where this franchise was, you know, and where they were in the South Florida sports landscape, non-existent, you know. But now they are arguably the best franchise in America. You could argue they're the best franchise in American sports right now. Them or maybe the Chiefs. Yeah, definitely South Florida, but you could argue even in the whole country. I mean, who's doing what they're doing?
I got to give the Chiefs love right now.
The Chiefs and the Eagles are all, you know, they're up there. But you can argue like
only the Chiefs, not the Eagles. The Eagles need to do more to be where, because the Eagles' other title was a whole different. Now, I will tell you, Howie Roseman might be the best GM there is because he makes the coach and the quarterback interchangeable.
Mm-hmm.
That's some shit.
Bill Zito is probably up there too, best GM in the country. I mean, look at where this team was. What was it, 4 years ago, where you win the President's Trophy but get knocked out of the playoffs, and you have this style of hockey that's fun and enjoyable. You have stars. You have Huberdeau, you have Barkov, you have stars, and it's like, okay, who could have blamed him if he just ran it back and stuck with what was working? And he didn't. He changed up the style entirely, hiring Paul Maurice to play this defensive playoff style of hockey. And like, it's hard to think of now, but 3 years ago, I remember it wasn't popular. They snuck into the playoffs in 2023. They barely made it. And they should have lost to Boston in that first round. And who knows where they are if Brad Marchand beats Bobrovsky on that breakaway, who knows where this franchise is right now. But the fact that Zito had the courage to change things up entirely, and Paul Maurice jokes about it, saying I turned a 120-point team into a 90-point team. But it's worked. Unlike, you know, it works in the playoffs. You know, they got to the final in 23. They win it the last two, you know, these past 2 years. Like, I mean, if you're a Panther fan, just drink it in, just enjoy every second of it.
Amen. All right, what do you got going on the Sentinel so folks can check you out and subscribe?
Yeah. You know, got to break the news last night. Going to toot my own horn a little bit about the parade scheduled for Sunday. I will be there. Hopefully, no rain this year. I have a lightning phobia, so I would prefer no lightning. Wait
a minute. You live in South Florida.
I know.
You've got lightning phobia.
I know. It all stems actually from a day I was working. I was working at a high school game, and I was sitting alone in the high school football stadium press box, and you know, you had the lightning where it's like the flash and immediate thunder, and I thought for sure I was gonna die in that press box or something, or on those bleachers. But yeah, so like last year I dipped off the meteorizer when the lightning started, and I went and hid basically. But yeah, so hopefully none of that this year. Working on stuff, gonna be here all week. May even do some Club World Cup stuff. We'll see what happens. And yeah, you know, got some stories coming out later today. We've got a bunch of coverage up online. We have, you know, people at the Elbow Room this morning, reporters at the Elbow Room, you know, covering the celebrations. I got to sleep in this morning because I was, you know, up late last night. And yeah,
that's where Bill Lindsay's going after he finishes this interview with us next. He's going to go to the Elbow Room.
It looks like a ton of fun. And like I said, Panthers fans, if you're go to the Elbow Room, if you see events happening, autograph signings, like that was honestly the coolest thing I've ever covered in my career was last year's Stanley Cup. You know, winning the Stanley Cup, getting to you know, the week-long celebration that culminated in the parade. It was just the coolest thing. I'm excited to see where things go this year, see where the cup ends up this year. I'm really hoping Brad Marchand eats a blizzard out of the cup. It should just be like, just everyone should just enjoy it. It's so cool. Like, I'm rambling now, but I mentioned on Twitter and I think Blue Sky like a week or two ago that I used to be like skeptical and critical of bandwagon fans. Like, oh, whatever, you know, I get the typical attitude, like, whatever. I fully embrace, be a bandwagon fan, have fun. Not everyone devotes their lives to sports like we do. If you're a guy, if you're somebody who just enjoys having a good time, jump on the bandwagon, have fun. It's a blast.
Dude, I'm a born and raised South Floridian. Born in Belglade, Florida, raised in Miami and Hialeah and everything, and now in Kendall. I know this town inside and out. We're just smart consumers. And if you don't dedicate yourself to trying to win, okay, people won't connect with you in this town. But if you try, which is what Viola's done from day one, he has proven he is truly committed. And then Panther fans have just gotten on the bandwagon slowly but surely. And that's why it's gotten that way. Nobody knew anything about basketball, bro. Nobody. When I was a kid, we brought over the Sixers and the Nets as an exhibition game to see if basketball would work. And then it took Pat Riley and Mickey, because the first ownership group wasn't strong, wasn't committed to it. Just like Viner and guys. Viner's group had their hearts in the right places, but they didn't have the money. And so it just kind of, it takes both. And in this town, your entertainment dollar is so stretched because you can do so many different things that if you don't entertain us, at least, we're not asking you to win the title, but if you don't at least try, like the Dolphins, they don't win shit, but they constantly try.
Yeah.
Do all the wrong things, but they're spending money, bro. They're trying.
And you look at the Marlins, and it doesn't seem like they try, and that's why nobody cares. Nobody goes.
And they're not going to ever connect with us because they don't try. And that's what it. And once you have broken through, that you have proven you are going to be committed to it, the Panthers now will win the fan base forever now, and they will survive mediocre, bad seasons or average seasons, because now they believe in Viola and they believe in Sifu and they believe in Zito and stuff. So you can have a down moment like the Heat have had and all that, and they'll stick with you. But
absolutely
prove, dude, that you're committed. All right, I gotta go. I appreciate you, bro. Follow him on Twitter, AB Lichtenstein. Appreciate you, my brother. You be good out there.
Thank you. You too. Have fun this week.
You got it, man. Thank you. There you go. Now let's bring on the legend, baby, Bill Lindsay. Oh, man. All right. Bill.
Ready to rock and roll.
Ready, bro. I am ready.
Oh.
And I got to tell you, dude, I thought about you last night. That off-balance goal by Reinhardt. I go, bro, that's Billy Lindsay right there. That's Billy Lindsay right there. I don't know. Did you think about that? I wasn't listening to the broadcast at that moment because I was watching TV. So I'm just wondering, did you kind of relate to that goal at that moment right there?
I was lost in the moment. I didn't really relate or correlate with what was going on.
Has anybody mentioned to you that at least yet?
Oh, yeah. The fan base, yeah. I was going on Twitter, yeah, reminiscent of Bill Lindsay. So Sam Reinhardt's able to do it with the 4 goals. Spectacular, scintillating, all in one motion. Takes the stick off Bouchard, then dusts Ekholm, the defenseman, then on the seat of his pants just shells it. That's a skill level. I was just chopping at a puck, whacking at it. His play has a little bit more skill involved than mine did.
You know, and you retweeted a tweet of mine a couple of weeks back or a month ago or whatever the hell it was. And I said that your Panthers team is really the same team that we're watching right now. It's the same determination. It's the same physicality. It's the same fearlessness and all of that. And the same goalie. The only difference is talent. You guys got there on balls and grit and your style of play that you limited people from scoring. You didn't have these guys that can obviously put it in the back of the net. That's the only difference but really the foundation of your team is what makes the foundation of this team. Really, kind of the same.
Yeah, it's similar in a lot of ways. It's a special group of men in that locker room that we have to accomplish this. And it took a lot for an expansion team in the third year to get to a Stanley Cup final. And Scott Mellenby, the leadership, I learned a lot. And what has to happen in that room is you got to have a deep love and passion for the teammate sitting beside you. I'm going to go out there, and it starts from the top on down with your leadership group, and everyone has to pull the rope in the same direction. There's this intense fear of failure, not for yourself, but for that person sitting beside you. He's going so damn hard. Look at the way that he's playing. I got to go out and do the same thing. Paul Maurice, the coaching staff, the way that this team is built. It's nasty. It's mean. It's skilled, and they come after you, and they're going to take a piece out of you, win or lose. And that's why teams in this playoffs this year, last year, the year before, just have a really hard time keeping up for 60 minutes of a game. Forget about it when it goes to game 5, 6, 7. And it's just they're just eating at you with all this skill and coming after you, and they score these unbelievable goals, but they never stop being committed on all areas of the ice. They stay within the system. We had a DNA identity back in the early 90s. This team knows exactly who they are.
Yes.
It's going to be, they know exactly. They got the greatest identity in the NHL, and that starts with Bill Zito, GM ownership, all the way down, and then Paul Maurice making it work. And you don't make it work without players that are going to go out there and do the work.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Doug McLean and you guys, you knew who you were, and you stayed in your game, in who you are, and all that. You didn't try to get fancy. You knew you had to be blue collar all the way through, and that's what ended up getting you guys there. And then you ran into a Panthers-like team in the Avalanche.
Yeah,
the
very
modern
good.
day, right?
Yeah, the modern day. So that's where you're getting into this team. Everyone talked about the Oilers' depth coming into this series, better than ever. We're getting contributions throughout. Sam Bennett was our 4th leading scorer in the playoffs, points wise.
Right.
With 22. We had 3 others with 23, 2 others with 19. Evan Rodriguez was the short man on the stick on our top 9 with a mere 17 points. Trying to figure out that balance with Marchand and everyone.
Defense score on this team, dude.
Oh, we I don't know what the final number is, but coming into the Stanley Cup final, we had 16 goals from defensemen, the most in the NHL. And they're locked down. Have fun going against Mikkel and Jones. 6'4", 6'6", wingspan. Forsling that skates like a rocket. Ekblad down deep in the corners, tough. McDavid's got to come through layers. It's just like going through an onion. At the end of the day, it's going to make you cry. You're just peeling it back. I'm going through after. What more can I do? But you see on the other side, and Paul Maurice and the coach. Okay, we're going with the same lineup. We're going with the same lineup. On the other side, Chris Knoblauch. I'm changing my goalie. We need a different goalie. Sergei Bobrovsky played every minute. Chris Knoblauch on the other side. Got to take this player out, put this player in. I need new line mates for Draisaitl. Maybe someone else with McDavid. Sort out my 3rd, 4th lines. Everything game starts. We're behind. Let's go with 97 and 29 on the same line. And we'll play them half a hockey game and see if it works.
Dude, you sound like Skinner. I watched all the interviews yesterday, and Skinner, their goalie, was talking about it, and he goes, they won because they were consistent. They played the same way every single period, every single shift, every single night. And I felt that we changed, and that's what the Panthers do. They get you out of your game, and all of a sudden you want to fight with them, and they're like, "Oh, so now you want to play our game?" And that was the stupid thing that Toronto and the Oilers did. Instead of, you're a skill team, bro, play your game, because that's the only way you're going to have a shot. But when you start getting into the game of trying to get a little dirty and get a little scrappy, well, then now you're playing into the game that the Panthers want you to play. And so it's just really hilarious. And when I'm watching Skinner last night, how he's just talking about their consistency is what made them what they are.
Yeah, it is. It's just rinse and repeat and just go after it. And that's a problem. And what is it? Those men in that locker room and the bond and Paul Maurice. So you go back to when we won, and Bill Zito, when we won that President's Trophy, it's high flying and going. And they let go of the coaching staff, Andrew Burnett, the Joe Quenneville thing, and Andrew Burnett had a really good run with this team. But they go to Paul Maurice, bring Bill Zito in, and Paul Maurice says, we got to change. Like, this is not going to work.
Right.
In the postseason. We have to dump it in. And they bought into that philosophy. And then the Huberdeau trade. I love Jonathan Huberdeau. Amazing things down here in South Florida. But the trajectory of this franchise changed the minute Matthew Tkachuk arrives.
Amen.
and got on board with this team. So that mindset, that mentality, it goes throughout that locker room. And then what Kachuk was playing through in this postseason, so the hernia and everything down near the groin area ripped off the bone. Who does that? And who gets a point a game? That's not human.
No.
That's not what normal humans do. To do all that, to put it in perspective, my goodness gracious, the toughness, you got to have skill. You need skill, but there has to be will behind it. We had intense will with pretty good skill, but it was limited to your point.
Yeah.
This team has that will and that urge and that desire and that passion just bursting out. Yeah, we got a little bit of skill to back that up. And that's where all of a sudden you are back-to-back Stanley Cup champions.
Yeah, man. And Bill, they've created an environment now, because it's funny how they like to use that whole tax thing of the state and all that kind of crap. It's like, first of all, you got to have the right owner. You got to have the right general manager. You got to have the right coach. You got to have the right players. That's really, you can have whatever tax break, or you can have all the money in the world and all that. If you don't make the right decisions, which is what's been the Panthers' problems for many years, is that they didn't make the right decisions. And so now you actually have an ownership group and a front office and a head coach. They make the right decisions. It's not about the resources. Lots of people have resources, dude. This is not the only state where you get breaks on taxes. Other don't the Dallas Stars have the same breaks we do?
Yeah, Nashville also has it. Seattle.
Whatever, dude. You still have to build a team, and we didn't know how to build a team forever. And now they know how to build the team, and now the cheap excuses come out. But to my main point is, now you've created an environment that players are willing to take a little less, to be a part of, because they know they're going to be part of a winner, because they know that the people they're going to play with are just like they are. They're wired the same way, like you were wired, that kind of stuff. I think that's the other golden thing that has happened out of all of this, not just the winning and not just the cups, but now you've got an environment that people want to be a part of.
Yeah, that's the truth. And to the tax breaks, how was that working between 98 and about 2024?
Yeah.
Give me it was amazing, those tax breaks, what it did for this hockey team. And everyone forgets that Connor McDavid and Austin Matthews in Toronto, and those boys are making $10 million on the side in endorsement deals up in Canada.
Right.
There's money up there, so there's difference. So throw that out. That doesn't matter. The culture here, you have 3 goals. I had 3 goals. Most NHL, you dream of playing in the NHL. That's your dream. And once you step on, you got that first game. Okay, made it to the NHL. Now, how do I stay in the NHL? That is the toughest part. How do I belong in this league? Where do I go from here? Okay, I'm a defensive guy. I have to hit everything. I got to be nasty. If I do that, I got a chance to stay in this league. 3-4 years, I'm an NHLer. I belong here. I understand that. After that, one singular goal should be on your mind. I want to win a Stanley Cup championship. And it hurts as a player. 96, my only chance. When you retire, you have regrets. Not like from heart, but that Stanley Cup resume missing hurts. It hurts as a player to walk away. But to be with an organization that I love, being down here from the start, that's so ingrained with this community, I can't really explain what it means for me in South Florida to see what this Panther team has been able to do. And that's culture. And that is the moves that you make. And Bill Zito at the trade deadline, big moves, Marchand, big splashes, Seth Jones, that usually doesn't work out. But if you're putting round pegs into round holes, it works. And yeah, where are we without those couple of trades? People want to come here. If you're a hockey player and you got any kind of cojones, you want to win a Stanley Cup.
Yes.
So to be part of it, and you see what's going on down here in South Florida, yeah, sign me up for that. What's the dollar amount? Yeah, a little haircut. Yeah, I'll walk away. The Stanley Cup rings, all these guys just got, the new guys on board, Nate Schmidt, all those guys, they're all making a few extra million. Once you become a Stanley Cup champion, tack five extra years onto your career. that you got it. Like you can play when you're 35 and if you don't do this at 27, 28, yeah, he's won too. Bring him on. Let's bring him on here. So that's the beauty of this whole thing. Winning and decision making is the difference. They've done it down here.
Yeah. And you know what, Billy? The other thing that's amazing is the toughness, the mental toughness of this team to get to this grind 3 straight years, play more games than anybody else, and have a shorter off season than everybody else, and then to climb back on that horse and do it all over again. And now next year, not only are you getting everybody's best, but dude, you're breaking teams up because Toronto and the Oilers are not going to come back the same because they're going to go, okay, we've done this over and over again. We can't beat them. We have to build
5 minutes, Marner.
yeah, right. Now they're going to have to build their teams, or they're going to try to beat the Panthers. It's amazing what the Panthers have to overcome mentally and physically, and how you have an entire league now just trying to scheme against you, bro.
It's crazy. Look at Boston. That record season, beat them the next year. All of a sudden, Jim Montgomery, one of the best coaches in the league. We need a new coach in Boston. It's staggering what happens with this team, and just to kind of continue to grow through that, and just this is, as you said, you're just trying to just continue on here and push it, and with those other teams trying to identify how do you get by this, how do you get through this, and it's tough. And it's a copycat league.
Yeah. It's fun, dude.
We play a 1-1-3 lock in the neutral zone. A wing lock, yeah. So,
Bill,
sorry, you cut out for 1 second.
It's cool. It's beautiful that you also got to kind of thank the Tampa Bay Lightning, because ultimately that was the Panthers' motivation right there. It's like, okay, if we're going to be the best in the league, we got to be the best in the state. And so we got to beat those people. And once you overcame that hurdle from the team on the West Coast, everything else came together, dude.
Mecca of hockey, where's it at? Is it in Toronto? Is it in Montreal? Last 6 years? It's in Florida. 6 straight, finally, Stanley Cup appearances by teams in Florida. 4 Stanley Cup championships. The ride with the Tampa Bay Lightning, now with the Florida Panthers. You asked me back in '93 that I would see this kind of growth in hockey. I'd say you're insane. We had that little tiny practice rink in Miami Arena where we're dressed in a dressing room where rats are running around. Literal rats. That's why the lore comes on today. So I go run these London play programs for 5 to 9-year-old kids, NHL, NHLPA sponsored, sold out. There it is. And we have the full on rat, the 95, 96. Fear the rat. Oh gosh, that's beautiful. That lives today. But I go around these rinks, 5 to 9-year-old kids, sold out every rink, all the way from Kendall to West Palm Beach. There's about 7, 8, 9 rinks in between there. We're running 6 weeks programs every Sunday at these weeks, and I'm going to all the ones to help out with Panthers, and that is really a fun part of my job.
Yeah,
and we've already had some.
And by the way, as long as I'm around, I'll keep all the memories from everything that's been accomplished and all that. And by the way, you're forgetting about the little old Pompano rink too.
Yeah,
because,
that's right. Yeah.
I would go cover you guys in practice there, and we'd have 300 freaking people outside waiting for autographs from you guys.
Yeah, that was fun. We were told to sign the autographs to get there because we were new down here to South Florida, and there's a point. Let's connect with the community.
You guys would have signed anyway. You guys would have signed anyways. Hockey players are completely different. You guys are cut from a completely different cloth. You guys aren't like other pro players, dude. You guys are nice. You are.
Yeah, we try to be. Well, here's the thing. With all this stuff that you accomplish, that's always been told almost in every hockey room, you do it with all your passion, your soul, and your heart and desire, but always do it with humility.
Yeah.
Because life is going to be hard no matter what. It's going to humble you, even if you're a Stanley Cup champion. There is no one that's going to go through life and just say, wow, What an easy ride that was. There is going to be failure, there's going to be heartbreak, and there's going to be pain. But you have to, I heard a great speech one time, I believe Denzel Washington, but just fail forward. Like every time you fail, do not stop and fail forward and continue. Learn, grow, fail. And that's what has to happen with champions. You have to fail. You have to go through it and you grow as a player. That's what happened in life. But if you never stop pushing and you never stop chasing and you always believe in this, there is a reward that is ever more satisfying than you thought. And you look back at all that pain and all that hurt. I would never have gotten here if I never was able to just kind of get through that. And that goes through like firefighters, cops, people battling diseases. It goes for everyone out there. There are champions in this life that don't get the recognition that this Panther team does, but there are a million heroes out there just like that. But this is what this Panther group kind of embodies. Just never quit, fear of failure, and chase your dreams, and dreams become reality.
I have a saying I've gone by, and I've always told people, success is fed off of failure.
Yes.
And that's exactly it. It doesn't matter who you are. Whoever succeeded, they failed, and they failed gloriously before they succeeded, because that's how they
never stopped.
Yeah, that's how they got there. You know, Michael Jordan was cut from the JV team. You know, that's that's the way it goes, dude. You know, it's like, okay, I got to get better at this, and then you figure it out. You know, it's all good. Bill, as always, man, thank you for taking some time. I appreciate you immensely, and appreciate
big old bit to be back with you, and doing the show with you. Brings back some great memories. And,
we go back a long ways, my brother. It's 3 decades now.
Love you, my friend.
So it's crazy stuff, and the beauty is, these dudes are in their prime.
Yeah,
that's the beauty. This isn't like the Heat run at the end, like, okay, Wade was on one knee, and you kind of knew, and Battier and Ray Allen, and it was kind of, okay, LeBron's leaving, all that, okay, that's over. And sometimes runs come to an end, you know, and I know, you know, it's kind of selfish for us to think this way, but that's the beauty. We still have some great memories that we can set up here because these guys are in their prime, dude.
Mm-hmm. And if somehow you got a third, you're going down as one of the greatest teams in history, especially the salary cap era. If you did it 3 in a row, you are one of the greatest teams that's ever been assembled. You're on the cusp of that. You're already historic.
Yeah,
you're already one of the.
It's a beautiful carrot dangling for next year, man.
Yep.
Beautiful carrot.
So we'll see how they respond.
All right, Bill, you're a stud, my brother. We'll catch up down the line. Enjoy the celebrations, my friend. Well deserved.
All right. Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. There you go. The great Bill Lindsay, baby, joining us here on the show. Love it, man. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Give those Panthers. They won a championship, Sean. They won a big game. They dominated. Give them a victory cigar. Love it. Love it. All right. By the way, Lindsay B. Hockey on Twitter, if you're going to follow him on Twitter. Okay. Give him love. But I swear that first goal, I thought of Bill right away. I got to get Bill on tomorrow. That's it. I got to talk to Bill. That Reinhardt goal, that was a Bill Lindsay goal. That was a Bill Lindsay goal. Oh, man. Anyway, what else do we have here? Don't forget, folks, you can make a donation to the show, Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show, Cash App or Venmo. And you can make a Bitcoin, Ethereum, Chainlink, or Solana donation. And we also have PayPal for those of you out of the country, which is another way to reach out and make a donation and help us. By the way, you can help us get to Madrid. We want to broadcast live from Madrid during the week while the Dolphins are there, and do it from a Dolphins bar and do our pre and post game show. So help us there too. There's the QR code. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Our GoFundMe page. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh my God, Louis Chaffel and Billy Cunningham were horrible when they were running the Heat. Yep, exactly. And when you have horrible owners, you will not have success. I remember a baseball team called the Tropics. They probably stood a better chance of winning than the Marlins. Were they called the Tropics in Miami Stadium? I remember I remember the Miami Orioles. I remember the Magic. I think there was, like, for a short time, the Miami Magic or something. Was there Miami Tropics also? I don't know. I don't remember. Maybe you're right. I do remember the basketball team, Miami Tropics, that played in Dade South, and they also played, I think, in Dade North too. I think they might have played in other years. Moved around a little bit. Maybe even the Miami Beach Convention Center too. Anyway, I'm sorry, Dougie Fresh says, if you had a question for Bill, if you had one wish granted for NHL change, what would your pick be? Change the playoff format? That's for another day. But okay, I did not see that. I'm sorry about that. White man from town. That's the name. Keep winning, Panthers. You're the only thing that gives South Florida sports fans any sort of good serotonin levels. Hey, don't leave out the NSU Sharks, okay? All right? They win. And by the way, the Fort Lauderdale United got to the finals. The ladies got to the finals. Yes, sir.
So there was a Miami Floridians and a Miami Tropics.
Baseball team, Miami Tropics baseball team? Really? I didn't know that.
No, that's basketball.
Oh, I knew that. I didn't know
baseball.
baseball.
I looked at it real quick. I thought it said baseball. So.
See, no baseball. No. Baseball has been very, very good to me, but not good to the Tropics. I think the Tropics were basketball.
Yeah, they're also a SFL American football team. I don't know what that is.
Oh, well, I don't know about that. Yeah, I mean, I know South Florida sports history pretty well. I'm not perfect, of course, but yeah. What else do we have? Dolphin Dave says, you're still behind my Tampa Bay Lightning. Good job, Cats. Lightning will be back. So don't they have the same amount of titles? Don't the Lightning and the Panthers have 2 titles? Why are we behind? Do the Lightning have 3 titles? Did I miss that? Can you check that for me? I thought the Lightning only won 2 titles. They won 3? Wow, that's awesome. I didn't know they won 3. I thought they won 2. So I don't know if they're behind the Lightning. I thought it was both 2. Yes, sir.
3 times, 2004 and then 20 and 21.
Oh, okay. So there you go. 3 times. It's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome. All right. We'll catch up. I mean, they own them now. So they'll catch up. Give them a victory cigar box for the back-to-back. You paying for it? Big O, I better see you at the Dolphins training camp sweating your ass off. Just joking. Yeah, you listen enough. You know I'm not going to any Dolphins practices this year. Have you seen all those Coca-Cola cans that say bro and homie and partner? Nope. Don't drink the cans. If I drink a Coke, it's going to be the bottle. Glass bottle. I don't buy the plastic bottle. I don't buy the can. I don't buy the 2-liter. Ain't no bullshit here. Just brutally honest. Let's see. What else do we have? Big O needs someone to go around and collect the VIG. I know I collected my my Panther winnings last night. Converted it all to Bitcoin on the dip. Oh, how would you answer this question? I asked Bill about NHL change. What is the most needed change? Playoff format, improved player safety, improve officiating. I would tell you this, Dougie Fresh. I am not smart enough to give you an educated answer on that. That's what I can tell you. I can't tell you exactly why I've got to change the playoff format. I'm not smart enough for that. I don't know exactly why I would change it. And player safety, I don't know what more you can do. It's hockey. It's like football. They're violent sports. Outside, they have limited the fighting. There's some, but not like it used to be. The officiating, again, I watch Panther games, not, some of the officiating was bad in this series. They let the Oilers get away with some dirty shit early. But I don't know if it's as bad as, like, let's say, NBA referees. But I watch a lot of NBA. By the way, the WNBA is also pretty shitty, too. Basketball referees in general, shitty. So, Coca-Cola from Mexico, yeah, I think, some of them they're coming from El Salvador. Because they make them in different places now. They move the plants around. A lot of people are moving to El Salvador. A lot of companies are moving to El Salvador. They're very friendly. Where is this? Is this a Mexican one? Yes, this one's Mexico. But I've seen them from El Salvador. So the Coca-Cola has a plant in El Salvador. Say no high fructose corn syrup. Let go, Big O. You do not own us. We are not the Dolphins. I don't know what that means, Dolphin Dave. I have no idea what that means. You're at a point right now where you've been smoking a little too much this morning. Now you're kind of like, you're typing kind of stoned drunk there. Hey, you, don't do that. It's kind of what's going on. Let me get to a little music. All right? Let me get to a little musica for you guys today. Okay? Kind of missed that I'm not going to do any more Panther post games. Do you think I should do Panther post games throughout the entire playoff run next year? I think I'm going to do that. Because I only picked it up during the finals. I think I'm going to have to do that. Yeah. I think that'll be important. All right, let's get to some music history. Let's find out who was born today. And musicians, of course, we always start off with musicians born on today. Takeoff, the American rapper. Kershnik Kari Ball, known as Takeoff, part of the Migos. Born on this date in 1994. Josh Dunn, one of the two fantastic musicians in 21 Pilots. He's the drummer, the guy with his shirt off all the time. I'm sure the ladies are loving it. Blake Shelton, born in 1976, the country singer. Who else is celebrating a birthday today? Nathan Morris from Boyz II Men, born in 1971. Dizzy Reed, keyboardist for Guns N' Roses, born in 63. Oh, I love her. Alison Moyet, Yazoo, and Solo, born in 1961. What a voice. What a talent. Jerome Smith, guitarist with KC and the Sunshine Band, born in 1953. Ricky Gazda from the Jersey Shore group Southside Johnny and the Asbury Jukes, born in 52. Paul McCartney, born in 1942. He was part of something called the Beatles or something like that. I don't know. They might have had some kind of success. Who knows? Now we move on to famous people. And remember, if I don't say their age, that means they're dead. They're no longer with us. But they were born on this date. Publisher Edward W. Scripps, born on this date in 1854. Let's see. Vinter Robert Mondavi, born in 1913. Writer Gail Goodwin, born in 37. She is 88. Hall of Famer Lou Brock was born in this date in 39. Film critic Roger Ebert, born in this date in 42. Actor Carol Kane, born in 52. She is 73 today. Isabella Rossellini, the actress. She is 50. She was born in 52. She's 73. Let's see who else. Musician Ray LaMontagne, born in 73. He's 52. Actor Bailey Bass, born in 2003. She's 22, that youngin'. Sean Stanley. Do you have wrestlers born on this date, sir?
Yes, we do. Bam Neely turns 50. Big Vito, he is 61. Brandon Cutler is 38. TNA Women's Knockout Champion Masha Slamovic is 37. Mitsuhara Misawa was born on this date in 1962. And Bruiser Brody was born on this date in 1946. Those are your birthdays for June 18th, 2025.
All right. Let's do a little music history. What happened today in music history? Inquiring minds want to know. Well, on June 18th in 1967, the Jimi Hendrix Experience made their debut performance at the Monterey Pop Festival. It was at that show where the rocker first famously lit his guitar on fire. In 2011, the E Street Band saxophonist Clarence Clemens died 6 days after suffering a stroke. In 94, the Beastie Boys' fourth album, Ill Communications, debuted at number 1 on the Billboard charts, Billboard 200. In 91, Van Halen released her 9th album, For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge, also known by the first letter of each word, of each of those words. In 77, Fleetwood Mac went on to the number 1 on the singles charts with Dreams, the group's first and only number 1. In 96, Beck released his 4th full-length single record, Odelay. Good album, actually. In 97, Oasis supported U2 at a gig in Oakland. I was there. Wow. Holy shit. That was this date. So on June 18th of 1987, my wife and I were in Oakland, California, watching Oasis open up for U2 at a gig in California during the Irish Rockers North American tour. The next night, we were in LA, and it was Rage Against the Machine. I was there. That was cool. That was very cool. Very cool. Oasis was in their, obviously, peak at that moment. In 77, Johnny Rotten and Paul Cook of the Sex Pistols were beaten and stabbed by patriotic drunks in a parking lot at a London pub. The drunks were angry about the band's song, God Save the Queen. It was a bad week for Cook, who was beaten again the next day by a group of men with iron pipes. This is what happens in music history. By the way, Howard Jones announced it's coming September 5th to Fort Lauderdale. I will be there. I like Howard Jones. Just a little crypto, a couple crypto notes, especially Bitcoin, but crypto notes also, really, more than Bitcoin, because it's kind of, and it's a lesson learned, okay? You know, we are learning that if you want to have a good pro sports team, you got to have a good owner. If you want your business to be run the right way, you should, you usually need a good owner for that. Right. And so we're kind of learning that, the idiots that are in charge of the Iranian government, those people are just morons. They're just a bunch of pathetic, terrorists that are given a little power. But they're stupid people in general. And as you've seen, the Israelis have dismantled them within days, and they've got control of everything. Well, there's a new thing that the Israelis did. Yes, this is a crypto segment. That the Israelis did to the dumbass Iranians. The Israeli hacker group, and by the way, I love this name, Predatory Sparrow. Israeli hacker group, Predatory Sparrow. Hackers are the most powerful people in the world, bro. Respect hackers because they can ruin your life. Anyway, they erased 95% of the assets from Iran's Novitex crypto exchange. They left them with $100. They wiped everything out. Hey, Sean, what do we say about keeping Bitcoin or your crypto on exchanges? What do we say about that? What have we been telling people for 6 years? I don't know. Can you want to give them that advice?
Tangem wallet. Cold storage wallet.
There you go. Could be a Ledger, could be a Trezor, whatever. You get whatever you think is right for you, dude. We're not financial advisors here, Sean and myself. But we are telling you, not your keys, not your crypto. So clearly the dumbass Iranians aren't listening to this show. They would have had all their crypto, all their money. One report says that they wiped out the exchange of 1.8 billion and left $100. Now the Iranians only had like a couple hundred million only, and they wiped that out. Oh, man. Listen, I laugh because the Iranians lost their money because they're just stupid people and, whatever. Look at it. Within days, they've gotten their asses completely wiped out. And by the way, didn't they make a claim last night that something was going to happen that was going to be remembered for years? And then didn't they make another claim a couple of days back and all that? They just talk a lot of shit is what they do over there. Anyway, just an example. Okay, folks, you don't keep your crypto on exchanges. All right? Don't keep your Bitcoin on exchanges. All right? When you buy your stuff, you move it to your cold storage wallet. Okay? Keep it offline, dude. Hackers can get into anything. And again, I'm glad that the Iranians, the dumbass government of Iran, should we even call them a government, really? Because it's just a bunch of scumbags that are terrorizing human beings in that country. That's all it really is. Hopefully those people will actually now, there is, because you have to go all through with this. Regime change, everything. And yes, you got to bomb the hell out of that bunker. Okay? Wipe these idiots out. Wipe them all out. And make sure you adjust a brand new regime and make sure that it's not any kind of regime like the past. No more ayatollahs, like they took our people hostage and all that. I have zero sympathy for those scumbags. So wipe their asses out. And I was laughing my ass off that they got wiped out all of their crypto. Way to go, Israelis. You guys are awesome, by the way. You guys are awesome. It's freaking hilarious. By the way, jobless claims rose 245,000. Now you're going to start. No cuts will happen now, but in the next go around, I think they'll start to, if the jobless claims rise, once a lot of people start losing jobs, then you'll start seeing the rates get cut. Okay. But that's just your minor crypto segment for today. And, I took advantage of the dip. I don't know if you did too, but that's kind of the way it goes. Rule 1, no matter what adversity, no matter what obstacle, don't ever die. Well, that's not our choice. We don't want to die, but sometimes we just die, So that's kind of the way it goes. Okay. What can I tell you? All right, folks, we are out of here. We thank all of you out there as always. If you hit the like button, thank you. Please hit the like button on the way out. Subscribe, hit the notification bell. If you made a donation to the show, Cash App or Venmo, thank you so much. We appreciate you immensely. PayPal made a donation to help us get to Madrid. All of that good stuff. Thank you, thank you, thank you. As always, we thank Bill Lindsay. We thank Adam Lichtenstein. We thank David Furones. We thank, of course, the man, the myth, the legend that is Sean Stanley. We shall see you all tomorrow afternoon, actually. We'll be at Hialeah Park. I cashed in at Hialeah Park. I cashed in with my Hard Rock bet with the Panthers winning the championship, baby. You can too. And we give you $100 no regret first bet. So use that QR code. Make your bet, get your $100. It is awesome. Got NBA Finals coming up, as they're probably going to wrap it up too. And then we are stuck with nothing for a while. Anyway, love you all out there. Appreciate your support. We'll see you tomorrow. Same time, same place. Shit is falling all over the place. Same bat channel.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.